Is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Sharing the love, spreading the light in real time. Friday night love stream.
Very happy to have a guy we instantly resonated with. Unbiased and on the fence. I'm talking about Shane C. Robinson. And his purpose is to rise above the worldviews that are designed to separate us so we can unite as one.
Sometimes you have to sort of take a step back, and I think Unbiased and on the Fence is a really, really good title for your show, because you are in the central point when you're unbiased and on the fence. That's what it means. It doesn't mean you're indecisive. It means you are taking the central point and you're seeing the multiple perspectives.
Unbiased and on the fence.
If you haven't checked Unbiased on the Fence, go and check his channel out. You might like it.
This is Dan Hofeld from Talk is Cheap, and you're listening to Unbiased and on the Fence with Shane Robinson.
If this much sincerity enters your life, come to this much. What I know, I know. What I do not know, I do not know. I don't believe anything, I don't disbelieve anything. I'm willing to look at everything. You will become a sensible human being.
Have you checked out our website?
Visit us on the web at uotf.net. You're listening to The Love Stream.
All around the world in real time.
This is Shane with Unbiased and On the Fence. You're listening to the Friday Night Love Stream.
Your calls, your stories, on air. You're listening to the Love Stream.
Sharing the love and spreading the light all around the world. This is Unbiased and On the Fence.
Unbiased and on the fence.
Happy Friday to you guys, and happy 3rd or 4th of July or whatever it is for you. And I was so excited about the whole Independence Day thing. You know, me and Eileen are doing our Power of One meditation tomorrow night, dealing with independence. But I know it's American holiday, but I think we can all celebrate our independence from the system, from the matrix. You know what I mean? And take this as a special time to do that. And to do that, I'm going to start the show with Atsuko. Atsuko, are you there?
Yes, I'm here. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I hear you great.
Hello,
okay.
Everybody.
So Atsuko, as you guys know, I've had her on before. We met in Sedona the first time I went to see Allison Coe. And then, of course, I got to see her again in Austin on New Year's, and again at ESETI. So Atsuko and I go way back now. She's my dear friend, Reiki master, and always wonderful to talk to you, Atsuko. The artist Atsuko, because you do so many things besides the Reiki master. We've shown your artwork before, sculptures and artwork and all sorts of fun stuff. But the thing I really want to focus on now, and I want to get right to it because I know you have actually a session to do here coming up, and I'm already running a little late. So let me show everybody this picture of what you sent me, because this has to be one of the coolest gifts I've ever gotten in my whole life here. Look at this, you guys. This is a Starseed Bracelet. Is that what you call it, Atsuko?
Yeah, Starseed cuff bracelet.
Yeah.
Is it? I'm not seeing the picture.
Yeah, you know what? You're running a little bit late, but everybody else has already seen it.
Is that why?
Yeah, it's like 15 seconds behind.
Okay.
Yeah, so there, it should be up there by now.
Oh, there, I see.
Yeah. So very nice. It is so professional. I can't really get, I knew you were making it. I knew it would be nice because your artwork's already really nice. I already knew that, but I was so blown away by how professional it came and how it was wrapped and the custom box for it and just the workmanship you put into it. It's just perfect. I mean, people can see here by the image, absolutely perfect it is. It's wonderful, and it's one of those things I'll cherish for my whole life, Atsuko. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And born God, how do you pronounce her last name?
Oh, yeah. Von Galt, yeah.
Galt. She was
Yeah.
talking about Merkaba all the time, and this bracelet features the exact same thing, Merkaba.
Yeah, I see that, yeah.
Yeah. And I'm a Reiki master, so I put Reiki energy into it, the Reiki infused, so you get the constant Reiki energy.
That's wonderful.
So, yeah.
So the
my
cool thing,
intention.
the cool thing about this, you guys, is you can make these for anybody, right?
Yes. I have a Etsy online shop,
Mm-hmm.
and so far I sold 3 of them.
Oh wow, okay.
One, yeah, I just shipped one to Paris, France
Oh
last
wow,
week.
wow, that's cool.
Mm-hmm.
So all
And
I did for you is I just took off one of my bracelets and I measured it, how long it was, because it's perfect, you know, fits real snug, and then I sent you that measurement and it came out perfect. So that's really
yeah,
all it took.
I can adjust. hmm I can adjust the length based on your wrist size. So if you need bigger one, I can adjust it. And
Yeah.
also, if you like different color of stone, I can use different color too.
Oh. Yeah, I do like the clear right in the center of
Yeah,
it.
me
That's
too.
really nice.
I like clear.
Mm-hmm. That's
Yeah.
wonderful. So I noticed you got your websites all up and running too.
Yes,
Um,
it's hagolomo.com. The word hagolomo means garments made in feather in Japanese language. Many years ago, thousands of years ago, people believed that they were, what do you call it, maiden, no, divine maiden,
mm-hmm. Yeah, the
and they
divine
wore
feminine.
those
Mm-hmm.
yeah, divine feminine. They wore those garments. It's like scarf, like silk scarf, but it's
Right.
made in feather, and they
Ah,
wore it in order to ascend to higher realms. So
right.
that's why I used that word, hagoromo. And also, I wanted to combine the English word hug.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's that's the meaning behind the name.
That's perfect.
This station is now the ultimate power in the universe.
Sharing the
I
love.
wanted to
Yep.
thank you about the
So
International Mandela Effect Conference. Oh, there's a bit delay. Go ahead.
yeah, there's a big delay. Sorry, I had some sounds go over the top of you talking, but it's fine now. So yeah, you did you like the International Mandela Effect Conference?
Yeah, I saw half of it so far. I think about half, but I really liked it because people have very different, specialties. They have different perspectives, but it was all work together.
Mm-hmm.
And the good thing about it, in my opinion, it wasn't negative. So
Right.
I think that was very beneficial at this time of human history. This is so strange time of human history. So
Yeah.
for me, it was very encouraging. So I
Right.
really appreciate it.
Well, the thing
And
is,
I submitted.
go ahead.
Can I continue? I submitted a question in the
Uh-huh.
chat, and I won Cynthia Sue Larson's book,
Mm-hmm.
Reality Shift,
Mm-hmm.
and I got an autographed book. Thank you so much.
Oh, you got your
And
autograph book from Cynthia already, didn't you? I forgot about that.
yes,
Yeah.
yes. And I want to share this interesting story. So the very first sentence in the book it goes like this: Ever wondered where that missing sock went when you last searched the clothes dryer? Thought about why those keys you carefully tucked into your jacket pocket suddenly disappeared, only to be found underneath the cushion of your favorite television sofa. And that's exactly what happened the day before I got the book. It's so much synchronicity. Yeah, I had a little jar of Nutella, the hazelnut spread,
Mm-hmm.
cocoa spread, very sweet spread, and I put it right in front of me on the table,
Mm-hmm.
and then it was gone, so I totally forgot about it. And when I was eating toast in the morning, I was thinking if I had Nutella, it would be nice. As I was thinking about it, but it wasn't there, so I totally forgot about it. But still craving that. And for several days, it wasn't there. And the day before I got the book, it came back, and I was like, "Whoa!" It came back.
That is
And
so
also,
wild.
there was a pen I really liked, and it was in my book. It was in my bag, and I used it somewhere outside. And when I came back, it wasn't in my bag anymore, so I thought I lost it. And I really liked the pen, so I was like, "Oh, bummer! I misplaced it." And then several days, it was gone. So I checked all pockets in my bag, not only that bag, but other bags. I have 3 bags, and I checked all pockets, so it wasn't there. So I gave up. I lost it, right? And then I think it was the same day when Nutella jar came back.
Yeah.
I I was using the other pen that I put in the bag.
Yeah.
So I was gonna pick up the other pen in my bag, right? So I reached out and I put up the pen, and it was the pen I lost.
It was the
came
same
back.
day,
I think it was same day or a day apart.
right?
Just
But it
before I
almost
got
seems
the
like you
book.
shifted, like shifted right together, and both things changed or
Yeah, I
something.
think it was the same day. Yeah.
So has stuff like this been happening more and more to you?
Yes.
Yeah.
And would you like to share those pictures
Yeah.
with
While I'm
the
pulling those up,
beautiful?
while I'm pulling them up, can you tell me? Hold on a second
What
here.
happened? Yeah. So I was driving down the road. Yes, was it yesterday?
Yeah.
The day before yesterday, and I went by that place many times. There's a supermarket called Trader Joe's, and I go there almost once a week.
Right.
For the last 5 years, I would go there almost once a week. And all of a sudden, I saw a huge bronze sculpture of a ballet dancer. I
Yeah.
think it's like mother and daughter, and it's right in the middle of open space.
Right.
And I don't remember seeing that at all. So I
Right.
was like, is this Mandela effect? So I
Right.
took several pictures. And then the next day, I look at the picture, and I see 2 bright lights in the sky that look like UFO.
Yeah, it does.
Can you see?
Yes,
I
definitely.
circled.
That's
So
amazing.
those sculptures, it's
It's
right in the open space. How could I miss it? And I drive by there once a week for last 5 years. I've never seen it.
That's amazing. Here it looks like they sort of moved their perspective a little bit. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Yeah, it does look like 2
So
ships though.
strange things like this happen more often.
Yeah.
Yes, more
Yeah,
and
that's really
more.
cool. Okay.
And I want to talk about Reiki a little bit too, my
Yeah.
Reiki sessions. And sometimes I always try to ask questions. I mean, I always try to get messages from client higher self if there's any message for the client, right? And sometimes I hear words, clear words, and sometimes they are symbolic, sometimes not. And one day I got some words, but I had no idea about what it meant. So I told the client about those words, and she said she used the exact same words that one of her friends said. It was really odd words to use. So it shouldn't be, how do I say? It was totally there's no coincidence, you know. It was absolutely no coincidence, but the words that her higher self gave me was the message her higher self wanted me to convey.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what I mean?
Right.
Yeah, yeah. So, but sometimes those words could be very odd,
Yeah.
and I don't want my client to think I'm crazy.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but at the same time, I have to trust my intuition. I have to trust my gut that
Yeah.
you know, clients higher self want me to tell them. I have to trust, and you know, I tell them what the messages what the messages are, and most of the time it means something profound or something very important.
Mm-hmm.
It's very, very interesting, yeah, how it works.
Yeah, that's really cool the way that when you do Reiki sessions for people, sometimes you'll get art or, you'll get images in your mind, and sometimes you'll get words or just different things. And it's amazing how just connecting like that, you get different things like that. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't think that's not typical for Reiki masters, is it?
Maybe not. I'm not quite sure. But I have a book called Art of Psychic Reiki.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And the author says as you do more energy work, more and more energy healing, your psychic abilities enhance. It's natural.
That
Yeah. I
explains
didn't
why
know about
the BQH sessions have helped me so much.
Do you think that your psychic abilities are pumping up as you do more sessions?
Oh, definitely. I thought it was just
Definitely,
the
right?
energies and stuff, but yeah, doing the sessions as well, I notice it happens a lot. A lot of telepathic things happen during sessions. I'll get a lot of images while they're talking that I feel like they're showing me things, like their higher self is showing me as they're talking, and so all of that has really increased. Even for people that get sessions, like our friend Sherry, she gets tons of more things that happen now because of just getting in so deep in her sessions or whatever, so it's just playing in that realm just opens you up to more and more, and as you're able to release the fear associated with it, because sometimes it can be kind of scary when you're going through experiencing something new, like a out-of-body experience or something. Maybe it's not fearful, but it seems fearful at first, so you have to kind of overcome that fear, and then there's just a whole new world to explore.
I've never had out of the body experience.
You haven't yet?
I haven't. I tried a couple times listening to, what do you call it? Binary?
Mm-hmm.
Binary
Binaural
music
beats.
or something?
Yeah.
But I started to hear loud noise, like jet engine, very loud noise, and I thought airplane was coming, I thought the airplane was coming. And then I thought, maybe this is it. And then I got too excited, I think. I got too excited, so that sound started to disappear.
Yeah, that's exactly it. That's it. Sometimes it comes on like a really strong vibrating or whatever and buzzing, and it can feel kind of scary at first if you don't know what's going on. Some people hear themselves breathing, and it sounds like someone's breathing behind them, and because they're kind of going out of their body, But, but yeah, it can be kind of scary. I see that it's almost time. I don't want to keep you. Make sure you let me know when you got to go. I know it looks like you got about a minute left.
Yeah. Thank you so much for reminding me. Okay.
But thank you so much. So people can reach you at Hugolomo. I have it on the screen. HUGOLOMO.com, or also on your Etsy. You got an Etsy page with the same name, Hugolomo?
Yeah.
Awesome.
Name, Hugolomo.
Or if they go
there's
to
link on my website too.
Okay, that's what I was going to ask. Yeah, okay, perfect. So, yeah, if you guys just go to that website on the screen, and I put it in the chat as well, you can talk to Atsuko about making one of these wonderful Starseed cuff bracelets. Very cool.
Thank you so
Awesome.
much. I'll
Thank
talk
you
to
so much,
later.
Atsuko. Thanks for taking the time to come on and chat with me. Lots of love to you.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Let's go.
You're listening to The Love Stream.
Unbiased and on the fence.
What do?
right, you guys. That was the Wingmakers music. You can listen to it for free on YouTube. Just type in Wingmakers music. We got Propagate This Light to join us tonight. What's up, man? It's so good. We've been talking, shoot, it seems like since 2017, I think we first touched base, right? Or was it 2018 maybe? Somewhere. It's been a while.
Yep, it's been a while. It's been 2018. How you doing, man?
Pretty good, man. This is a kind of a long time coming. I've been wanting to get you on here and kind of hear your Mandela effect story, actually, because not a lot of people can, get something beneficial out of it. I mean, some people are kind of stuck there, where they're not really finding the beneficial part of it. But it seems like you really kind of discovered something and kind of ran with it, huh?
Yeah, I did. Actually, how I started was as a non-affected person. I guess I would assume a lot of us have started as a non-affected person, which is why I don't like to use the term NPC. I don't like that too much, but to each his own, right? So, but I started off not knowing about it, and when I heard about it, I thought it was something that someone made up, just to distract people from what's important. And then I just said in my mind, well, if this one thing changed that I am familiar with, then I'll probably look more into this Mandela effect. So I came up with something in my mind, and then I went to that particular thing, just running errands, and I just decided, okay, let me go check it out. So I was in my storage, and this particular thing was a book that I had in storage. And so I just went to the book and looked at the verse in the book. I didn't expect it to change, but when I realized that it actually changed, my mouth hit the floor. And what it was a Bible verse, the heavens. I knew that for a fact that it said heavens with an S. And when I looked, it didn't have an S anymore.
Oh, okay. You're talking about Genesis 1:1, right?
I believe that's what it is. I don't know the locations.
The very first verse in the Bible, you guys. And most people, I was going to memorize the Bible when I was a kid, man. So the first verse, I went over that a ton of times because I made it to the 10th verse or something, you know what I mean? But, I had that memorized, and there's just no doubt in my mind, because I even remember having a discussion with my mom. I'm like, why does it say heavens? Is there more than one heaven? I mean, that's a natural question for a child to ask, but never would have asked that if it only said heaven, right?
Right, yeah. Because I was raised as well to believe in, a heaven and a hell. So heaven is plural. And so when I looked at heavens, and that's why I knew for sure it had an S on it, because I was kind of studying the Bible on my own, and I was stuck on that part for a long time because I was trying to figure it out.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, definitely. Were you raised Christian?
Excuse me?
Were you raised in the Christian religion, or how were you raised, like worldview-wise?
No, I wasn't raised to go into any direction. To be honest, especially with a religion, I wasn't raised to be. But I have been in the church a good portion of my life. Mm-hmm.
Just like family members.
I used to actually
like going with an aunt or something like that, or was it like you enjoyed going?
Yeah, with a lot of my the women I was dating at the time, they were in the church. So, one of the women I used to date, her father was a pastor. So, I was definitely in the church a lot. Yeah. I don't think I went with my family much, but I believe we have been in the church a few times. Yeah.
Well, like how familiar were you with the Bible? Besides that scripture you were just talking about, was there other ones that were sort of jaw-dropping for you when you came across them?
I wouldn't say I was familiar with the Bible. I usually just take in what the pastor's given to me, and just probably read along in church. But I never really studied the Bible when I was younger. But in my when this happened, I decided to. Oh, actually, 2 years before that happened, when I came across that effect, I decided to pick up the Bible and try to understand what I'm reading. I used to work in the church as well.
Okay, cool. Mm-hmm. All right, so you didn't have the unindoctrination to go through that a lot of us had to go through, you know what I mean, to sort of, I don't know, just a lot of baggage. I had a lot of baggage to work through from the whole religious thing. So you didn't really have to deal with that, but you've always been on this journey, right, for truth seeker?
Exactly. I mean, when I was younger, certain things would happen that I didn't understand. You know, it's what we would call supernatural.
Mm-hmm.
So I've always been on the path. When I was younger, I didn't realize what was going on when it happened. But when certain things happened, I used to dream about things before they happened, and then the next day what happened, I just didn't.
That's cool. Yeah, that's cool. Does that still happen now?
It's been happening here and there. Throughout my life, it has been happening beyond when I was like 5 or 6 years young. It has been happening in my, but not as of recently. But it has been happening. Yes. Still.
Well, how specific is it? Is it kind of vague, or is it pretty specific things in it, or or does it depend?
It's pretty specific. I mean, I don't know offhand what it's referencing. You know, when I'm having the dream.
Mm-hmm.
But I did dream about airplanes falling out of the sky, you know, in the downtown area.
Mm-hmm.
And then about a year or so later, then that's when that incident happened, you know, in New York.
Mm-hmm.
And then also the New Orleans situation with the waterfall. I dreamed about that as well, but I didn't know it would be New Orleans, and then that happened as well.
Oh, okay. So you'll get the dreams, but you don't know until it happens. It ain't like you could have warned anybody or anything. No, get out of New Orleans or anything.
Right. It'll just happen. It will happen consistently.
Mm-hmm.
So I know now that when I have these dreams consistently, then it's something that's about to happen. You know, now I just have to wait and see, I guess.
Yeah. And so you don't even have a time frame then. So how far ahead of something? You said it was about a year for the 9/11 thing, or?
Yeah, it goes for about a year or two from the time that I'm visualizing it.
That's pretty cool. So it's like you're tapping into some kind of future stream or anything. Have you had any other like supernatural stuff?
Well, I was telling people about this time just recently. I was thinking about just as of due to safety, I was traveling down the street, and I was thinking in my mind that, you know, what if a ball comes rolling out into the street, you know, and a child comes running after it? You know, it's pretty dangerous, we know, on a busy street, you know.
Yeah.
And for some reason, I just kept thinking that because that's something I don't want to happen, and that's one of those thoughts that I don't want to happen, that I want to keep out of my head, you know, because I don't want to manifest it.
Right.
You know. So maybe about a couple of days later or so, I met this female, and she was telling me about this other female that she knows, and she said, well, she said she was driving on the street one time, and this little red ball came rolling out in the street, and this infant came running after it. And I'm just like,
whoa.
How can she be saying what I would, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was she able to avoid hitting the child or whatever?
Yeah, she actually repeated back what I was thinking, you know, about 3 days earlier, and I don't know how that's even possible.
Yeah, that's weird. Yeah, but you know they say the whole time thing is an illusion, so that right there helps a little bit. You know what I mean? With the whole picturing something, if everything's really happening in the now. But yeah, that's still strange though from our perspective, stuck in linear time or whatever. So when did the Mandela effect thing happen for you though? How, was that that was in 2018 when we first talked, or was it before that?
Yeah, it was I would say around 2016. I came across a few channels and 2016 is when the Bible thing happened, the Bible verse, and I noticed that. And then Costco was another one that those two are those two are really big ones for me. Costco and the Bible heavens. So 2016, around 2016.
Okay, that's amazing. Okay, so that's about the time I came across it, but I didn't really see it until 2017. You know, you had that moment of really that jaw-dropping moment that you had. It took me a whole year to have that with the whole thinker statue and the lion shall lie down with the lamb. Which I also want to mention, you guys, Shelley, who called in last week that had that Bible verse, she felt so bad she went to take a picture of it the next day, and it had changed to the current version. I told her not to feel bad. It was just a little miracle for her. So we had a caller last week that's looking at it, and it said the lion shall lie down with the lamb in her Bible. But the next day she went to take a picture of it to send it, and it changed. So That's amazing. That would have been the only copy I've ever seen. But the picture would have changed too. That's just how it works. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and that's the thing about the pictures. So, I noticed that when there's illustrations of the way it used to be, the illustrations stay the same.
Yeah. A lot of times they'll survive unless they like trace something. I think sometimes a drawing will. I've seen a few tattoos seem like they change, but sometimes they'll just directly copy, trace it. So it would have just traced it if the actual thing they copied it from changed. You know what I mean? That's what I'm thinking anyway. But yeah, I've seen some like airbrush art and tattoo art and things where they just, free-handed it, used their consciousness. And I think that stuff definitely survives. Yeah.
And, to go back on the heavens thing, if you don't mind, there's one of the things that I've also mentioned previously on one of my streams. Another part of that really got me, my mouth hitting the floor and staying there is that, okay, so I realized the heavens changed. So when I was studying that, I was writing down the verses in a separate book. So I had that book as well in storage. So I went to that book. And so I looked to where I wrote down heavens to validate that it did say heavens, because I did write it down. And that part on the paper where I wrote heavens, that part on the paper was ripped out of the page.
Oh my God, are you serious? Man, that's crazy. Oh my God, that's crazy.
So you could imagine the type of mental stuff I'm going through right now. I'm like,
man.
I don't know what.
Yeah, what do you do with that? That reminds me, when they find some like these Dead Sea Scrolls and it's missing little spots. Now it's making me wonder if it rotted away or if something changed and it destroyed it, or something. I don't know. It's crazy.
Right. What do you think about that though? Because I sound sane right now, but when I think about that and when it happened, I'm like, I know nobody didn't come into my storage and just rip that word out the book,
Right. It's almost like it just made the page disintegrate, like it couldn't, I don't know, cognitive dissonance on the piece of paper. Do you know what I'm saying? It couldn't handle it. It just crumbled away or something. That's weird, man. That's definitely weird. That's cool, though.
Yeah.
It is. That's pretty cool.
So I'm definitely on this search to understand myself and, my surroundings a lot better. I don't have all the answers, and I know everybody else may not have all the answers, but I feel that by me uploading streams about, some of my beliefs and theories, that it will help me to understand myself better and other people as well.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, really, this has been a journey for me. I mean, you've been watching long enough to know too that it's just I've had my journey just publicly, basically journaled publicly, and a lot of people along with us. We've figured things out together and just have just been on this journey together. And it's great to have somebody with you because when you're talking about this kind of crazy stuff, you just can't talk to anybody. I mean, you just sound crazy, So it helps to have a little community that we have here. So you have your channel is Propagate This Light. When you hop back in, we can drop a link in or something after the call or whatever. That way people can go subscribe or whatever. Make sure they're subscribed.
Okay, so I'm
not rushing you or anything. I'm just saying that afterwards.
Oh no, I definitely appreciate it, man. It's a blessing. Thank you so much. But I'm able to drop it into the chat.
Yeah, when you get in there, I'll make you a mod, and then you should be able to space it right in there.
Oh, okay, right on. I appreciate that. Yeah. So you said you started in 2018, or you became aware of it 2018, you said?
Well, I first heard about it in 2016 with you, but I didn't really realize it was happening until 2017. Matter of fact, right on the equinox, which is, it's kind of important because a lot of people seem to wake up in the equinox, and, both the equinox in the spring and then so basically like March 22nd time frame, and then again in September 22nd time frame. So a lot of people, for some reason, wake up around those times. Do you remember what month you sort of had that Bible experience happen?
Man, I don't remember the month, but I knew it was in 2016 because the reason why I know it was 2016 is because I've seen Life Matrix. You familiar with Life Matrix?
Yeah.
Yeah, he I think he was just starting off at the time, and he had a few videos I know that he no, it was it was someone else, another channel, as well. Both of those channels are my first, but it was another channel, and I asked that person when did they produce the video that came out that I seen back then. He said 2016, so I'm sticking with 2016 because it was I seen the video around that same time. Yeah.
There wasn't a lot of people even knowing about it way back then, man. That's crazy.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, definitely. It's hard to talk to people about it, and and it's hard. People that are closer to you that you try to bring up effects to, and if they say it the new way, it's like, wait a minute, you're supposed to know it the old way. I know because I know you,
Right.
So yeah, it's kind of like Christopher Reeves. I know Christopher Reeves with an S, not without an S.
Oh, for sure, man. Me and my best friend, man, we'd have fun like doing Eminem raps all the time with the Christopher Reeves in it. And there's so many. In fact, there's a compilation video of Eminem. How many times? I guess he just used his name quite a bit. But what's strange about it is the original Superman's last name was Reeve, and now it's Reeves. So you can tell there's an intelligence with these changes that kind of try to hide it, right? So if you're the type of person that was like, I just remember one of them was Reeve and the other one was Reeves, you won't notice it. You know what I mean? Which is typically how a human thinks. They're like, well, I know one had an S and one didn't. And then, so if it's swapped, you're less likely to notice. But if they were both the same at this point, like only one of them had changed, so many people would have noticed.
Right.
But there does seem to be like it's hidden, like in a way. Like when you say Sex in the City, I could have said it either way just then. I said it so fast. Interview with a Vampire, I could have said it either way. Nobody knows for sure which way I just said it. I don't even know. I just said it really fast. So it's just hidden right within there, and people just don't notice it, man. It's even the one song, the City of Angels song by the Red Hot Chili Peppers, when he says City of Angel, he breathes in where the S would normally be. So he says City of Angel. And when he does that, it creates almost an S sound to your subconscious. So you don't even notice that that's changed. I mean, everything is hidden so perfectly for those who don't want to see it. You know what I mean? But once you know, they just stand out to you. So do you see this intelligence with the changes, or does it seem random to you?
No, this definitely, there's some type of intelligence going on here. I'm a firm believer in the capital G-O-D. But I don't know how it's happening, or if it's the collective consciousness that's pretty much, orchestrating a lot of this. It's probably a lot of the above. I don't know what all of the above is right now.
Yep, I feel the same way. I'm like, man, it's probably a little bit of everything. Everybody's probably got a little piece of the puzzle. That's actually why we put the puzzle piece on our book, because it's like one of those things where it requires so many people. It requires a collective to really get an honest look at what's happening. You know what I mean? You can't just take your own subjective experience, because people experience changes differently. So you kind of got to, it brings us together as a community. If we can really remain open-minded about it and realize nobody has the answers, and then just sort of kind of put the data together, it makes for a really fun conversation, until people get heated about stuff. You know what I mean? So, I don't know.
Yeah. I hear what you're saying, because after there's a lot of detail. I feel like the details matter, because about our life and how we go about our life, consciously and aware, and to be out of I had to be sure. I had to first, before I got into this into the ME, I had to be I had to get out of survival mode, and then I had to control my emotions. So I think there's different aspects that some of us may be missing, but we may learn along the way. And, I had to definitely control my emotions. I learned to do that early on. And I feel, if I didn't do that, I probably would be going crazy off of what's going on, but I'm a little stable now than I probably would have been before.
Oh, absolutely. And having a community definitely helps. I can't imagine going at it alone,
Yeah. That's why I thought it was cool that you allowed me to speak to you, back then, because I didn't have anybody to speak to,
right.
And so do you think this is a simulation?
That's funny, because I'm actually working on a book right now. I've been getting coming to me, and really how this is sort of like a simulator. I don't know really what a distinction would be with that, but I picture like, you know, a jet fighter goes in to practice to fly the real jet, you know, and it's a very real experience. The thing moves around, it feels real and everything, but there's really no real danger of death, you know. So I feel like it's sort of that. It's like we've been inserted into a game. Some people think that cheapens it to call it a game because they don't realize how seriously gamers take gaming. But so maybe a play and a well-orchestrated play in which we're the actors and we don't even realize it, and we have higher selves that's sort of playing us like The Sims, but we have our own, you know, we have our parameters which we can operate within, and we're learning things. We're here to experience things, and there's really nothing to really fear ultimately. It's all an illusion, you know? So yeah, I do feel like it's something like that. I don't know what to really call it though, because I don't feel like it's a computer, you know? I feel like it's consciousness driven, you know, whatever it is, it's consciousness driven, you know?
Right. And you said that it's our higher self playing us like The Sims. What is the okay, so the higher self and us we're separate? Is that what you're saying?
I think we're just a less aware version, you know?
Okay.
So we're trying to become more aware like our higher self, but it definitely has a better view of the playing field. We should definitely trust our higher self. That's what I'm realizing, that we all have this higher team that's helping us, and so often we kind of get in the way and jack things up. So there we go. I just made you a mod, so you can paste in your link if you have it available, or you can still wait if you want. But
okay, I appreciate it. Thank you.
Yeah, no problem.
Yeah.
So how do you view it? I mean, but I don't know. You know, I'm just saying that one of the things that the reason I say that is because once you can see that, then you can kind of get at the underlying mechanics of how things work, you know. And that's one of the things that I found to be super helpful. Like one of the things that maybe people, I kind of view like, you know, if you would think of the dark forces, Satan, demons, things like that, I view it more like the ghost in the game Pac-Man, programmed by the Matrix. Just like Job, in the book of Job, God's talking to the adversary he's sending out. He's sending out this adversary to challenge Job, to put him to the ultimate test with stuff, you know what I mean? Because it's ultimately a game. And I know a lot of people don't understand that, but that makes perfect sense if at the end of the day, all of his 10 kids that died and were replaced by 20 other kids, and you think, you know, that's great, God gave me twice as many kids as I had, but you still took my original 10. It doesn't make a lot of sense, but it does when they didn't really die. You know, it was a skirmish, if you will, you know?
Yeah,
but I don't know, ultimately. How do you kind of see it?
You know, I just take every day, you know, as it comes. You know, I don't really, sometimes I realize I would think one thing and then I could be wrong about that. And then, so I'm just trying to learn along the way. And that's why I'm happy that you allowed me to be on tonight or today, depending on where you're at.
That's funny you said that. I'm the same way. Yeah, I might believe something totally different next week. That's why I tell people, I'm like, don't get mad if somebody thinks different than you. You might not even believe what you're saying right now, you know? We're all on this journey, and it's like, it's really a moment. You should have a momentum with your journey where you are constantly kind of refining the way you see things and trying to better yourself or whatever it is, you know? But yeah, it's like we're never the same. We're constantly changing. So I always just feel like just love people wherever they're at on their journey and just be supportive however we can, not get too upset about it. You know what I mean?
Right. I mean, you know, I understand, you know, there's people have feelings and things like that, you know, but, you know, I feel in this particular journey, at least for myself, you know, I'm more into the love field of things, you know, more than I was before. I've always been in that zone, but now I'm even more into it now. And it's a blessing I feel that I'm even able to talk to you and to other people and to do streams and to have conversations with people, and I ask questions that has always been on my mind about the nature of reality.
Yeah. Yep. You can even see like just small acts of kindness and stuff, how much it can change the world. I mean, it ain't like you got to be like the Pope or anything, you know, like people think. I mean, we can just be polite to people. We can be nice to people. We can help people around us and stuff. I mean, just the difference we could all, if we all did it, the difference we could make would just be incredible. And it really wouldn't take any more time out of, like, I mean, a lot of people are doing this stuff anyway, but if everybody was doing it, it would just change the world, you know?
Yeah, and I've heard about that. It was this group of people, there was a war or something going on outside, and a group of people were inside of a house and they meditated or on the same thought. They opened the door. Yeah, so,
Yep, absolutely. Yeah, they reduced, like, violence, like, 75% or something like that. It was a group of, I can't remember the study. Somebody put it in the chat. But, yeah, there was an actual study where they could actually see scientifically prove that it does help. That's why we do our Saturday night thing, because we're just trying to put our power of intention together. Like tomorrow it's like liberation or actually because of Independence Day, independence, but just sort of trying to move with the intentions and putting our power of intentions into just making positive change in the world. A little bit at a time, man.
Yeah, you know, definitely. Yeah. I mean, I look at you as a big channel, and I also look at you as a person, as myself, you know, just trying to learn, you know, what's going on. You know, I would love to have you on my channel one day if that's possible, you know, but I know you're always busy now.
No, I can definitely make time. Yeah. Do you have any regular shows you do or anything?
No, I always tell people that I don't do shows. It's pretty much just me conversating with people that are, you know, like minds. Just trying to understand. Try to understand.
That's so funny about. That it's like I tend to use show because program sounds like I don't know. There's never a good word for it. I felt like, man, everything's been ruined. You know what I mean? But yeah, I just typically default to show, although it's not. You know, it's entertaining. So.
Right. Yeah.
Although there's something
definitely it is. Yeah.
But yeah, that
yeah.
Awesome,
I mean, I just
for sure.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. I appreciate that. You know, maybe get you on my because I have questions to ask you even now about the synchronicity. I just did a stream about synchronicities. What do you think of synchronicities are? Are they just patterns that repeat in time, or are just coincidences? What you know? I still don't exactly know what they could be, but I spoke on my last stream about it, and then they told me what they thought. But I would love to hear what you think synchronicities are.
I know a lot of people will look up the numbers that seem to be repeating a lot and to try to find deeper meaning in it. But I just simply look at it like signposts that let me know I'm right on track, because no matter really what level I look at, I can always see the synchronicities. It's just a lot of times they'll grab my attention if it's on the clock or whatever. But if I notice it's a constant stream. It isn't like you get these incidents of synchronicities happen. If you really notice, you'll see that there's this constant stream of feedback where reality's talking to you. And I know that's going to sound strange to people who haven't experienced that, but it's a constant stream. So I feel like we're tapping in, man. I feel like, I feel like you're on track, and these are just little hints at the fact that this is a game, if you will, and it's your like higher self talking to you. And the reason I say that is because a lot of times you'll be worried about something that you got to do the next day, or maybe worried about a conversation you just had or whatever. You're just not in the moment. But as soon as you see that synchronicity, it brings you right back to the moment. And that is where I found our best connection with our intuition and our higher self is in that now moment, rather than worrying about the past or future or whatever, you know?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you just brought me back to a feeling that I usually have when I come across a synchronicity. I feel the same way. So I'm happy you said that.
Another way I describe it to people that's pretty cool is imagine being in a waiting room and you glance around at everybody and no one's looking at you. You don't think anything about it, but when you glance around the room and you catch someone's eyes and they're looking back at you, then all of a sudden it kind of pops you out of whatever thought you're having, and that's what a synchronicity is. It's like when you look at the clock and it's 11:11. It pops you out of it more than if it was 10:58. You know what I mean? You see 11:11, and it's like it's looking back at you, and it brings you to that moment. And I use that to actually as my notification. Like, you know, I smile at at my higher team for that little miracle,
Okay. So you also feel that you said the higher team, so that's including the higher self and maybe, I guess, others that's making these things happen from the other side?
Right. I kind of feel like instead of it being like, I feel like it's a higher agency. So instead of it being like, it's just the whole team of people. And like I have a connection with Dolores Cannon because I do the BQH stuff, and with Michael Jackson and Janie Lane because of working with Sherry. And they've come through separately with me now just because of that connection that's been made. So, I've had some pretty cool supernatural things happen that let me know that we do definitely have a team there. I also had another journey where I had two light beings where I only went to their waist, but they had their hands supporting me under each of my arms, and a male and a female. And I knew them. I was like, oh, yeah, I forgot you guys are here all the time. But, I've had a few things like that. Yeah, there's definitely some kind of loving higher team. I don't know what you want to call it, I'm okay with God. I know that triggers some people, but, I don't think it matters. I think it's a human thing to want to put a label on it. I think it's like, if anything can't be labeled out of everything, it would be God. That's like the unlabelable thing. You know what I mean?
Yeah. They even have different names for God. I don't even know which one is what,
right,
for real,
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm taking it that they somehow orchestrate these synchronicities to happen. I guess they have the power to like alter reality, maybe, or send you in a certain direction, or just have you to look at the clock at a specific time. Or
man, it's really cool the way it happens. Okay, so the best way I've come to sort of understand it, and it comes from the Law of One, it talks about the other aspect of us being in time-space, and we're in space-time. So where we can move, where we're locked into time, but we can move about space, they're locked into space, but can move about time. And that's why you want this relationship with your higher self, because it's like the whole yin-yang thing. It's like, to have the complete picture for your journey, for the most optimal journey, you have to be in the moment. That way you have your connection with your other side that's out. So it's not a big deal for it to move about time to create synchronicities, just like it's not a big deal for us to move a clock across the room or something. You know what I mean?
Okay. Yeah, it reminds me of, I've had experienced telepathy before. Have you ever experienced that?
Oh, yeah. I've been having that happen a lot lately. Yep.
What? No, tell me about it. I got to hear this.
Oh, I mean, it just keeps happening in conversations with people where, they're like, oh my gosh, I was just about to talk about that. And it's not like it was in line with what we were talking about. It was just a completely different topic change or whatever. So this has been like really ramping up lately. Like daily, it's been happening several times a day with different people. So, and it's really happened in a session, BQH sessions. I've actually been able to ask a question telepathically, which was really awesome to actually experience that. So, yeah, it's been ramping up. And like I said, I also get pictures and stuff during sessions that I feel like whoever that client's higher team is sending me, almost like they're emailing me attachments or something. They're sending me images of stuff. And one time I was like, I see, and they're like, yeah, you see. And I realized, oh, you just sent me that image in my head, so it happens. It's pretty cool.
Okay. I've had a full-out conversation with somebody. That's what happened with me with the telepathy. I had a full-out conversation with somebody in our mind.
Nice.
Yeah.
So how did that work?
It wasn't something that I willed to happen, and I wasn't even aware of it when it was happening. When it started happening, I kind of became aware when it was happening. I was laying next to my spouse at the time. We were laying next to each other, and we were face to face. And it turns out that we were having a conversation while we were asleep. And she was talking to me, and I was talking to her. But I became aware that we were talking to each other, but in our mind.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I don't remember what we were talking about, but we were talking about something dealing with life, life.
Mm-hmm.
And I just became aware. And the more aware I became, then, I snapped out of it. But yeah, I was aware.
Did it wake her up when
that
happened?
No, it didn't wake her up. I brought it up to her, and she doesn't remember it.
Mm-hmm.
But I remember it. I recall. Yeah.
That is very cool.
Yeah. 'Cause I woke up slowly. I was actually up. When you're laying in bed and you're about to wake up, and you're aware of your bedroom and you're aware that you're laying there. That's where I was at in that space. But I was still, my body was still, laying there, and my eyes are still closed. Yeah.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Have you had any out-of-body experiences or anything? The vibrating, and
man.
buzzing really hard and all that?
Oh, man. More than, I would say, I'll just say a handful of times I've had, OBE experience, OBE. I've been in a state where my body was vibrating. The last time that happened, I said in my mind that my leg is vibrating so much that it feels like it can cut the bed in half.
Mm-hmm.
That's how it was vibrating. And I've had different experiences being out of body.
Oh, that's awesome, man. Yeah, I'd had one incident happen back in 2017, and it jarred my memory that feeling that I'd had a lot of times as a child, and I actually called it a night. My parents called it a nightmare, because I was trying to explain what I was feeling, and like, oh, you just had a nightmare, sweetie, and but I didn't realize it because they stopped happening, and then so as an adult, when I felt this vibrating, like just buzzing all through my body, and and then I rolled out of my body, and I kept popping back into my body like over and over again. I finally realized that, oh my gosh, that's that feeling I had as a kid. So now I don't know if I was actually running down the hall to wake my parents up, because I never actually would go through their door. I'd wake up enough that I didn't want to wake them up, but I could have been out of body running down the hall. That's funny.
Yeah, exactly. And you remind me when you said door, because one of my experiences where I was out of body, I don't remember actually getting out, but I remember I was, I went to bed, and the next thing you know, I'm standing up in front of a door that in the area where I didn't have a door at. Come to think about it, there was a door there, and I was reaching for the doorknob, and then I said to myself, "Wait a minute, I don't need to open the door," and I just went through it.
Man, that's crazy. Yeah, I don't know how that works, because I've heard of people, like when I finally got up out of my body, I never left my bedroom. I was filling on the walls and the ceiling, and it was all there, but I could have easily just flew right through it too, but you just don't think that. So the next time, I hope I have enough awareness about me to, go to the pyramids in Egypt or something,
Right. I heard that you mentioned that a few times. Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because when you said that the last time, I think you said that on the IMAC broadcast. But I was saying to myself, I I wouldn't mind doing that, going to checking out the pyramids. I've been to other places. It seems sometimes that I find myself waking up in a different location. Not body wise, but when I'm asleep, I will go. I guess the best way to say I'm going places and I'm waking. That's hard to explain, but it's like I'm waking up somewhere different. And I'm in a whole different environment. And
So is that more like a lucid dream?
I've had lucid dreams before, so I do know the difference. But yeah, this is something totally different. It's like when you're out of body, you just know. Like when I was standing by that door, I knew that I didn't have to open it because I was in that state that I've been in before, which is out of the body.
Right, that makes sense. Yeah, I definitely knew I was out of body. It was a definite difference with. Much more clear than a lucid dream. Although lucid dreams are really clear, you can see, at least for me, I can see strange stuff in a lucid dream, and it's still not click with me that I shouldn't be seeing that. You know what I mean? Even after I realize it's a lucid dream, like strange shaped toilets and stuff like that don't stand out as being weird until I think back to it later. Because most of the time when I'm in a lucid dream, it's because I have to go to the bathroom real bad, and I'm dreaming I can't find a bathroom in my dream or something. So a lot of my lucid dreams have to deal with not finding a bathroom. And then I can't even, then I realize it, I'll realize like, oh my gosh, this is a lucid dream, and then I'll realize it, but I have to go to the bathroom so bad I can't play there too often, too long anyway. I have to actually wake up and go to the bathroom.
Right. I heard you speak about that too recently too on one of your streams, yeah. because I was like, man, that's interesting, you know. Because I used to, I think it made me think too that I used to sleepwalk. Doesn't have anything to do with lucid dreaming, but yeah, that's one of the things I've been through. I used to sleepwalk as well. So I'm just trying to figure out how all this stuff connects, you know. I'm clairvoyant also.
Oh yeah.
How
does that work?
Yeah.
What kind of stuff?
Well, I would know things, you know. One of the last times this happened, I was speaking to somebody that was out of state at a place I'd never been to. And this is what usually happens. You know, I'll speak to them on the phone, and we're talking, and then next thing you know, it's like I don't want to say movie, but I just did. Okay, so it's not like a movie, but it's like I'm there, and I can see what's in their environment, but it's not very clear to me yet. But I can see what's in their environment, kind of, right? So I would say, well, hey, there's this picture on your wall that's really big, and this has a wood frame, and I would give details. And then they will get quiet, and they'll be like, how'd you know that? How'd you know? You know, or they'll send me pictures. Well, this one person sent me a picture of what I seen. And one other time I knew something of, you know, certain things about a person that I've encountered, but it's never anything private. It's just pretty much just information, I guess, that I'm picking up from them. And then they'll be like, well, how did you know that? You know, or how did you know the child in my stomach is a girl? How'd you know that? Because I'm seeing them at 5 years young. You know, I'm seeing them older, but they haven't been born yet. You know, stuff like that.
That's pretty cool. So can you control it, or does it just sort of happen?
Yeah, it just sort of happens. You know, it just sort of happens, and I'm stunned when it happens because I'm like, how do I know all this stuff?
Right.
This person's saying, how do you know? And it's like, I don't know, I just know. You know, you know. Yeah.
Cool,
so what's under that description of clairvoyancy? I'll go ahead and I don't like titles either, so I'll just go ahead and I'll take that because that's the only way I can explain, you know, what it is that I can do. I'm still trying to understand it because certain stuff that's under that description, I've been able to do that's not under that description. Certain stuff that I'm able to do, I didn't see in that description, so I'm trying to understand myself, you know.
Right, and I think it is like a range of stuff we can do, you know, sort of naturally. Probably everybody has their, you know, just like people can have, they're more natural dancers or musicians or whatever, you know. So it's probably like we just have, you know, just like some people have better eyesight. I bet some of us just have better clairvoyance and clairsentience for others, and it's probably, we probably got it all, but it's probably just ones that people are stronger at, ones more than others. That's what I would think. Right. So have you noticed like a ramp up though? Have you noticed you know, at least since the Mandela effect the last few years, have you noticed an increase in abilities or anything?
I'm noticing a ramping up in the synchronicities. I spoke to a few other people, and they said, yeah, you know, it's, they're feeling it too. You know, it's like a ramping up of synchronicities.
Yeah, they're crazy. Yeah, matter of fact, I got a synchronicity hat coming in the mail. Where I got my 11/11 hat, I got a synchronicity hat coming because, yeah, they have been ramping up like crazy. And it's, I tell people, I'm like, hey, they're signposts to let you know you're on track, you know.
Okay, yeah, I've heard that too, but what does that actually mean? Because when this happening, you know, when this happening, I know you explained to me earlier, I'm just trying to really grasp that, like, how do you know that you're on the right track, and what does that actually mean when you see a duplication of something? How are you supposed to, I don't know if I'm making sense trying to explain it.
Yeah, and, you know, honestly, it's kind of rhetorical in a way because it comes through in every session that I do for somebody that they're right where they're supposed to be. So the fact that the signpost is there letting you know that you're right where you're supposed to be, you're still right where you're supposed to be, even if you don't see those signposts. But they're just reminders that they're just reminders. They really don't serve a purpose. If you don't see them, it doesn't mean you're not on the right track. Everybody's exactly where they're supposed to be. That's one of the reasons why I feel like, you know, it's more like we're in class. We've signed up for different experiences. It's not structured like our classrooms. But indeed, it is like a some kind of virtual reality world that we're in that's consciousness driven. We have our avatars here, but it's only a fraction of who we really are. So yeah, in a sense, part of us is playing a game, an experiential game.
Yeah. I kind of went through an experience in the past that I picked up that this is kind of like a game. Now, and I'm like, it's a game? What? A game? Just picking up things. I'm just saying to myself, like, it's a game. I'm still trying to understand what that actually like means. It's like, I guess like we were playing a board game or something. It's kind of like a give and take situation. I guess that's what it means as far as game.
Well, no, I think what it really, that's why it's probably better to say simulator, because when somebody's getting in a simulator to learn to fly a jet, it's like a game, but they're taking it very serious, and gamers take gaming very seriously. So for people that it cheapens it for people that do think of it like, oh well, games are just for fun. It's for the experience of it though. It's you can think of it like training or something, I like the game thing because of the mechanics involved. Once you can get past the fact that yes, this is a game, then you can dive into the mechanics of it to control your reality a little bit better when you see how there's a response. And that's sort of what I was saying earlier. You can think that there's this evil force that's like after you to actually get you, and it's angry at you, and it's got emotions, and it's trying to be as conniving as possible to get at you, and there's a chance that it actually might get you, and there's this way of thinking that's more in the fear of it. But there's a way of getting beyond that and saying that, wait a minute, this is programmed to come after me specifically for the specific lesson that I'm supposed to learn. It's not angry with me. It's just following orders. And it's not even, it might not even be conscious like we think of conscious. You know what I mean? It could just be the matrix itself playing itself out. And in the same way you were talking about NPCs earlier and not really liking that term. And I really think we're all conscious beings, and I think we're just at different levels of awakeness. And those levels of awakeness, if we're really asleep, then I think we can become controlled by the matrix. And so the same way I might say some kind of synchronistic thing to you to like help you make your next decision, and it's like a positive message, maybe you'll have something discouraging come from some asleep person, right? That's the matrix is designed to challenge us. One of the things I should probably say here is one morning I woke up and I heard this woman's voice talking to me, like as I'm waking up, and it's like trailing off, and she's like, kind of telling me, just in a serious voice, not alarming or happy or anything, just regular conversation tone. And she says, don't forget, the matrix is designed for two things: to create the illusion and then to hide the fact that it's creating it. And I'm paraphrasing. I got the idea of what she was saying, but I was so half asleep and like, what the heck is this voice I'm hearing? But I got what she was saying. And she was basically saying the two functions is to create the illusion and to hide at all costs the fact that it's creating the illusion. So it's designed to hide. And I think we designed it. I think we designed it to be real. We designed to forget, to come in here thinking that there's a real danger, and because it's fun ultimately. I really think that I know we take it seriously and stuff, but I really think there's a time when you sort of wake up out of it, right? And you're like, oh my gosh, what a thrill ride that was, and it's like, even if you went out some kind of fireball crash or something kind of way, it's still, you wake up to realize it was all a play, a game, or a simulator, or however you want to. I don't think there's a real risk of death,
Yeah, I'm assuming that we get to a certain point where we realize, we're more in the spiritual at that time, or like we're fully in the spiritual. So I think that maybe, just maybe, as far as my out-of-body experiences, I felt that over there is more real than whatever here is. Over there is more real. So, yeah, now I assume that when you're there permanently, then you're going to look at this as it was just, like you said, a dream or
Mm-hmm.
a game, or because now you're within your true self now.
Yeah.
And you're saying that we created the Matrix outside of what is the Matrix? I mean, outside of what is called the Matrix. You're saying that we created the Matrix before we came into it?
Well, I feel like there's different perspectives, and if you go all the way to what is termed the Logos, the very creator of, and of course they say there's Logos of Logos or whatever, but what we would term like the creator, right? What everything sort of sprung from, the source, God, the intelligent infinity, as some sources call it. So I think it starts like that and it just continually branches off. So ultimately, I think we are sort of a drop in the ocean of what is God. Do you know what I mean?
Right. Exactly. That's my.
Yeah.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's all I was going to say. So ultimately, I mean, from some level, yeah, you can say, yeah, we've created this, but I don't know at what level. If we did it from our higher self level or from the level of the Logos, but it was created for the experience of it, is what I feel like.
Yeah, and some people say that we go back to like we're a part of God in the sense that, let's say God is a body and we're like the fingers on that body.
Exactly. Yeah.
So I'm assuming that okay, so we're literally a part of God. So therefore, I guess that before we came here as who we are, as the character that we are, we were God or part of God, and that's how. But then I guess you could say God created the Matrix. I guess I'm tripping myself up here, but I guess what I'm saying is that we're all are a part of God. I guess you could say little Christ, little Christ, because
right, and it's kind of like what our whole lesson here is to sort of get beyond the illusion of separateness of the individual ego, as they call it. The ego. Most people use that term as like the main thing of our individuality, but that is it. At least realizing it to the point that, like what you're saying, it's almost like a tree, right? We branch off into more and more limbs, but we're ultimately part of this one tree we call God. And I don't think there's anything that is not God. So it's kind of hard. I can totally see an atheist that says there is no God, because I think God is the thing that there is no opposite of. Like, from black you've got white or whatever. It's like God is the thing that you can't point to anything that isn't God. So at the same level, you can point at everything and say, where is God at the same time? Because you can't say, you know what I mean? There's no distinction that can be made from what is God and what isn't God. So it's kind of a moot point to have that discussion with it. But I think we're all made up of God. Like, if everything's an ocean, we're like drops or molecules of that ocean, which is God, and we're trying to work our way up further into, I guess the bigger, thicker branches, right, of our awareness, anyway.
Mm-hmm. Oh, I like that. Yeah, I like that, bigger, thicker branches. Yeah. Also, yeah. And then we, a lot of us call God our Father. So I'm assuming that being that we have a physical mother and father, and we have qualities of our physical mother and father, that it makes sense to me that we should have qualities of our spiritual father. Therefore, we have some of those abilities, which it says in the book that we could do what he did and greater, as far as Jesus.
Yeah.
And
I think that's
whatever. Yeah. Go ahead. I'm sorry. Yeah.
I was just going to say, it's like when Jesus said, "Not my will, thy will be done," in the Garden of Gethsemane or whatever. I think that's ultimately. I think if we could really see that there is an ultimate God's will that's like for the overall good of everything, the benefit of everything. And then there's sort of our individual will of sort of what we want. And maybe we want to help people or whatever, but we definitely got our own little separate will that if we had all the information that God has, if we had access to all that information, our will and God's will would always be in alignment with one another. So the fact that we have our own will lets us know that it's. I think that's what Jesus figured out, is what I'm saying. I think he moved into God's will, and when you're operating from that level, the benefit of all, then healing someone or bringing someone to life or tapping into this this perfect God source energy before we sort of begin to distort that energy up. I think he was just able to use that and perform miracles with it.
You know, and some people will say a lot of stuff is allegory. You know, just to be honest, you know, I'm still trying to figure things out. You know, I do believe in the capital God. You know, and I do understand. At least to me, God is not the name of the being, but that's just a title. Even, you know, what do you think about this? Okay, well, let me ask this question. What was Jesus's last name?
Well, I think like my guest Von Galt was saying, they actually did names differently. So I think with Jesus, it was Yeshua ben Yusuf, which translates to Jesus, son of Joseph. You know, like we know those would be the names we call now or whatever. So I guess they did it by naming the siblings or the father rather than having a last name. So Christ was actually just it stood for the anointed one, I believe, or something like that. It's more of a title than a name. Right. That's what I was getting at, because I've heard a lot of people say Jesus Christ. And, you know, mentally, at least to me, you know, if I didn't know already, I'll be like, oh, just mentally, I'll be thinking that that's the full name, you know, Jesus Christ. Yeah, and then you got Jesus H. Christ. Like Jesus Holy Christ. Or I guess that's, you know, but yeah, so it is said like it's his last name, but no, that's funny. Right. Yeah. That's great. Yeah. These are great questions. April's saying she likes your questions. They are great questions, by the way. Definitely. Oh, yeah. Appreciate it. Thank you. Yeah. You know, because, you know, I try to just research, you know. I don't claim to have all the answers and things like that. You know, I question a lot of things, and, you know, a lot of information comes my way, and I don't just automatically believe it. I just try to discern and whatever resonates with me. You know, that's why I tell people about my streams, you know. Whatever resonates with you is what it is, you know. Yeah, exactly. Yep, because we're all just learning stuff. So when you say you believe in a God, do you believe in it as like an actual entity, like a person, a persona, if you will? A persona, more of a persona, entity with a persona, maybe. I don't know, but I would say more of, I guess, an entity of sorts. An entity. I would say an entity. Yeah. So, like, do you picture him as anything? Like, is he like our size, or do you picture him as being elsewhere, or made of light, or like, you know what I mean? Man, okay, this is complicated. Well, the illustration of what God looks like is, you know, is of a man, you know. Yeah, like a Santa Claus looking guy without the red suit, but old white guy with a beard and stuff. Yeah. Yeah, and that's the thing too. This is still on track. What you're asking me, this is the thing. That's what I thought when I started to think about Santa Claus, and I'm thinking, wait a minute, is this a mock of God? You know, because God knows when you're being bad or good. I mean, Santa Claus, right? You know? Yeah. And that's what my mom always said. They're trying to take the place of God. We're not celebrating Christmas, and you know. So I mean, we celebrated it, but we didn't get into Santa Claus. We were all about we'd have Jesus in the little, you know, nativity scene, and so we kept it about Jesus, the reason for the season around our house. You know what I mean? But you know, Santa Claus was made up by Coca-Cola. Did you know that? I mean, they took it, they based it off of somebody, but it was like basically their mascot. And that was like back when they actually had cocaine in Coca-Cola, I believe, too. What? Yeah. Really? Yep. So the colors are reflecting Santa Claus, the colors of Coca-Cola, the logo colors? Yeah. They're the ones that popularized it and made it into what it is now, man. It was. That's why you don't see no Santa on no Pepsi. You know what I mean? Think about it. If it was like really a Christmas thing, then you'd see it on everything. But you only see it on that half of, you know, because almost everything's owned by, you know, Coke or Pepsi. You know. But yeah, it's interesting.
Wow. Okay.
And it had the cola and the coca
Yeah.
plant in it originally too, but they took that out. The reason I asked about the reason I had asked about the how you view God or whatever is because for a lot of people that dive into the Bible, one of the things that surprised me was let me see, let me look here. It was in John chapter 8 where Jesus is talking to like the religious leaders, and he's talking about their God, which we think of as Jehovah, and actually calling him the devil in that point, and saying and making a distinction between who they were calling Father, this Jehovah character, and who he called Father. His and I want to point out right here, guys, that in the original, like when you look in some of the Nag Hammadi texts, he didn't actually say Father. He said Father, Mother, or Parent, if you will. It's like it was genderless is what I'm trying to get at. It was like where we say Father, it was more like Father, Mother, the equivalent of saying a father-mother figure, a parent, a holy parent, you know, of both masculine and feminine qualities. But that being said, there was a distinction there, but in church and doctrine, they're the same person. The person Jesus called Father and Jehovah, that's his Father in religion. But right here in John 8, anybody can look it up. There's a distinction there, and that right there blew me away. Because that just completely makes the structure of just the religion Christianity just completely different. You know what I mean? And you have to look at it a lot differently. And then I just had Vine Galt on, and she was talking about all of the years that are missing out of the Bible of Jesus, how he was actually in the East learning all of these, you know, Buddha practices and becoming a Buddha over there. He's like actually documented in their schools over there. I was like, oh, you got to be kidding me. And she's saying how it's common knowledge over there, but because it upsets people in the West, nobody ever talks about it. And I'm like, oh, wow. It's like they all know, but nobody's saying anything. So I thought that was pretty interesting, that it does show that Jesus really put in the legwork and went around and to become who he became. He actually went to some of these schools and mystery schools or whatever you want to call it. I think there was a few years he was in Egypt as well.
Man, what gets me is how did he travel? By foot, by water, or?
I think by both, man. Yeah, I think like camels and by foot, and yeah, that's crazy, huh?
Yeah, yeah. And you said earlier, the person that he called his father. So are you basically just saying like the entity he's calling?
The Heavenly Father, yeah. Who he called his Heavenly Father was definitely different than Jehovah that we're taught in church is who he was calling his Father. You can look in John chapter 8 and read it. Let me pull it up here and I'll tell you what I'm talking about. He says, no, let me see where it was. Okay, so I know and this is when they were actually planning to kill Jesus. He had like really made them mad at this point because of what he said. Jesus said unto them, they said unto him, where is your Father? Jesus answered, ye neither know me nor my Father. If ye had known me, ye should have known my Father also. These words spake Jesus in the treasury as he taught in the temple, and no man laid hands on him. Let's see where he really gets into it here. Where he calls their father the devil, the father of lies. He gets into it like, and if you think about it, I was just telling somebody earlier that was talking about the whole Adam and Eve story. You know, it was like God told them, in the day you eat of the fruit, you will surely die. The serpent told them, if you eat of the fruit, your eyes will be open. And nobody misses the whole obvious thing that God lied to them and the devil told them the truth according to the Christian story. You know what I mean? Because their eyes were open and they didn't die that day. You know, and then we got Jesus saying, you know, their father is the father of lies since the beginning. And right there, it shows he was lying in the very beginning of the Bible. That's so funny. But yeah, you can see the whole Bible differently once you step back from doctrine. That's one of the reasons why I read the Bible like dozens of times, is because I come across a new thought, you know, like, wait a minute, did Jesus ever say he died for our sins? Like he came to die on the main core of the religion, you know what I mean? Because that's like what I was raised to believe. And I was like, I don't remember any scripture. So I read the whole thing. you got to get into Paul's writings. Jesus is specifically asked, and he says stuff like, "Sell all your stuff and follow me," or something like that. He never says, "I'm going to die for your sins" or anything. And you'd think if that was the main thing, he sure would have mentioned it, right? So, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of little things like that that's like main core stuff in the religion. But if you go, you have to get into Paul's writings. And Paul was actually killing Christians right before he started writing these letters. I mean, it totally looks like he could have infiltrated the religion or something. I don't know. I don't get into that whole thing now, but it's interesting to look at it because it totally seems like this guy changed his name. He had been killing Christians, and then he came in changing up what Jesus said, putting the focus on his death, right? Instead of his life, which Jesus was all about teaching his whole life. And then this guy comes along and the churches are built around Paul's teachings about the death of Jesus and it being a blood sacrifice and all this. I don't know, man. I think it's all playing out like it's meant to be, but it's not what people think, I don't think.
Okay.
But I don't know.
Some of the stuff, I don't know either. Yeah, but I do hear some of the stuff that you mentioned. It seems like it reminds me of human, what do you call it? Human nature or human behavior. That so I would say some of the things that's happening today. After the fact.
Yeah.
The way people act and the way they may call you names or whatever the case is. That I've been in relationships that's kind of hard, especially if they believe differently. But I've always tell people, I don't try to put my beliefs on anybody else. But I do definitely believe in the capital God.
Yeah. And that's one of the things that, I feel like that's who Jesus was talking about. And I feel like the Old Testament, when it was talking about when God said he was a jealous and an angry God and stuff, I don't think you get jealous and angry when you don't know the whole truth, right? I mean, you have to think you're not being loved those are really limited ways of thinking to feel jealous and angry and stuff. And it's like for God to feel those things, that doesn't fit an all-knowing, omnipotent God, you know what I mean? A capital G-O-D, like you're saying, Yeah,
definitely. Yeah. Well, I appreciate you having me on. I know you have a lot of people in the chat, and somebody might want to call me. I don't want to hold anybody up if that's what I'm doing.
Oh man, it was a blast. And send me an email, and we'll get together and do a show on your channel or whatever. So, and I let everybody know, and they can come over there. I put a post up and stuff.
Okay.
So, yeah.
Okay, it's a pleasure to finally really talk to you again.
Absolutely.
And to hear your thoughts about different things. I appreciate that. I just didn't want to, somebody else might be trying to call in, I guess,
Actually, yep, one person just called in for the first time, but nobody's been waiting, so no problem.
Oh, okay. Okay, cool. I'm looking forward to hearing more views on things, and thank you so much. I'll send you an email soon.
Okay, man, I'm looking forward to it. Have a good one.
All right. Propagate this light. Check out my channel when you get a chance. Peace out.
All righty, buddy. Okay, peace.
Bye.
All right, let's see. Gonna go back. Let me make sure they're wanting to talk. If you're wanting to talk, can you hit star 2? I don't want to pull somebody in that's just listening, but I think you might want to talk. Let's see. Yeah, there's the hand. Okay, let me go back to the phone lines. All right, 808. Or 608, sorry. My eyes. Who am I talking to?
Shane, it's Laura Lee. How are you?
Hey.
Hey.
I'm going to type your name in here really fast. So how are things? You're in California, right?
Oh, no, Wisconsin, but I'd love to be in California. So maybe you just felt where I want to be.
Perfect. So how have things been going for you?
Well, pretty good. I think things have just been in this world pretty interesting, and we're just being pulled in so many different directions. Mm-hmm. And I thought now would be a good time to call and say what I have been feeling lately. And, you know, I remember the first time I called in, and it was just like, well, one, I was drinking heavily. No, not really, sort of, but I had drank a little bit, and I felt the courage. And so this time I'm calling, and I just feel like what's weighing on my heart is that unity is what's calling us in right now. And so many things are being sent out in the atmosphere to divide us in so many different shapes and forms. And I just would love, you know, to get a message that, well, no matter what's going on in this world, no matter what differences we have, like our biggest tool right now is to be together, to be unified, to realize that we are all connected. No matter what, we all have our different beliefs. That's fine.
Yeah.
But we're all one, and I think this world just needs a little bit more oneness and a little bit more unity. And we're just kind of going through so many weird things in the moment, and it just, to me, I don't know. That's just where I'm at. That's what I felt so compelled to call and say, hey, you know, the Mandela Effect Conference brought us all together, but yet I saw it divide us. And that was really concerning to me, because people were not okay with everyone having their own opinion of what they thought was defined, if we want to have a definition of a Mandela effect. You know what I mean? Like, it was just kind of like,
but you know what's
people
funny,
felt
Laura?
angry. Yeah.
You know what's funny is those people that had a problem with us always have a problem with us. But what it caused them to do is to unite together against us. So there was still some unity within the whole thing. They kind of set aside their differences to focus on us. Which,
so true.
That's fine. We'll take the blows.
So true. So true. And what Eileen said, even, I said, oh, so many thumbs down. And she goes, well, you know, it's weird, but the way the algorithm works is whether it's a thumb up or a thumb down, it's still an acknowledgement of our video. So no matter what, it's still giving us, you know, that algorithm to get in somebody's feed or whatever it is.
Yeah, because it shows that people were motivated enough to do something, down or up, you know.
Yes. So I agree. You're right. It brought people together, whether it brought them together to be divided or to try to divide. It still brought us together. It's just such a strong message lately is, you know, that, and to just realize that love is the answer. And I know it just sounds so simple and easy, and like there's so much not love in the world right now. And so you can say it's hate, or you can say it's division, or you can call it you're not me and I'm not you, so we aren't the same, and so we shouldn't get along, or whatever it is. But the most important thing is love and unity, because that literally what they're trying to completely, and I say they like I'm some conspiracy theorist, and it's funny because maybe I am and maybe I'm not quite sure. But all I know is I feel like we're just being so called to come together when everyone is so easily divided. And it was so funny because I was talking to my parents about it and telling them how I was at a point a couple years ago where, and I think I had mentioned this on a call before with us before, when it was just one of my biggest eye openers was feeling this division because somebody wasn't a Green Bay Packer fan, because I'm from Wisconsin and I love the Packers. And it blew my mind, and I was just like, and I honestly, there was two different people that I did not date because they were Chicago Bears fans, and it just now to me is like, how cheesy is that? And no pun intended, I just realized that of Wisconsin and cheesehead, but as I said that, but my whole point is, you know, how just shallow in a sense, like to think, well, if they don't like the same things I like, then I'm going to discount them. I'm going to count them out. I'm going to say they're not of me. I'm not of them, and we're not, you know, but yet we're all of the same material. We're all of the same fabric here, and we should all feel that more. And it's just important to be unified. I don't know.
Yeah, absolutely.
So I'm not calling to be biased. but yeah.
That's funny you said that, because the one thing that I was surprised, the common theme that sort of popped out there that I didn't expect to see, was the fact that several presenters brought up the work of Carl Johann Kalaman and his the Mayan ninth wave, unity wave research that he did that was connected with the Mayan calendar, and how he was talking about around, November of 2011, about a year before everybody was saying the whole 2012 thing. About a year before that is when this unity wave began, and that we're able to tap into it right now, that it's always there. So the fact that you're saying this, and, it gets me back to this guy that's been talking about this unity wave, that it just so happened that all of us brought this guy up, in our talks. And I brought up the fact that I came across his work back in 2017, and I thought it sort of aligned with the other views going on, like with the Law of One and Dolores Cannon. It was just like another way of looking at it, of the same thing. So, I'm going to have to get him on, I guess. I'm going to have to get his book and do some research.
Yeah. And I'm actually reading, as you say, Dolores Cannon, Jesus and the Essenes right now. And
nice.
Have you read that one?
Not that one, not yet.
Oh my goodness, I'm learning so much. And so, oh my gosh, it's just starting to just downpour. I'm sitting outside and the rain is coming down. It's wild. But
I love that.
Yeah, it's cool, but I hope you can't hear it. So what I was thinking was, so many things, because it's Dolores Cannon, and we all love, well, I should not speak for everyone, but in my opinion, she's like my grandma, in a sense, like, but yet she's so straight to the point. She's like, this happened, and they talked about UFOs and these things that you would not expect the lady of, and I am not calling her, she was older, I guess, when she passed away, but, she was just super, like, not, I feel like it's younger people that are like into UFOs or into just the fact that our world is so much more of the unseen than we give it credit for, because we're all about five senses, and we're not sitting here going, well, if I can't see it, taste it, touch it, feel it, hear it, then it's not real. Like she was just like no holds barred. There was no boxes. She didn't put anything in a box.
Right.
And so I feel like we are all, and I should not, like, again, speak for anyone. I just think it's so easy to start putting people in a box. It's so easy to put people in, well, you're a right-wing or you're a left-wing person, or you're for Trump, or you're for Biden, or you're for, but whatever it is, it's so easy for us to divide each other and to divide in this world, when the only thing that's going to help us ascend and kind of make it a 5D universe that we all want to be in, and higher, like a higher consciousness, is to just come together and say, you know what, brother, sister, you have your opinion, I have mine, but no matter what, I love you. Right. I freaking love you. And I do not care if you like the Bears. I don't care if you like the Packers. I don't care what color your skin is. I don't care if you're from California or Wisconsin, or, you say potato or potato.
Or what shape your planet is.
Yes, I don't care if it's flat, or if there's a freaking, if it's flat and there's a bulb over it, or I don't care. It just, we find new reasons to dislike one another more than we find reasons to like one another. What is that all about? Why?
Isn't that true?
Hello.
Yeah.
Why are we searching for reasons to be divided? Or they're being put into our life, in our laps. They're put in our fingertips, on our phones every day, the propaganda, and we don't realize it. And then when we do, it's too late, because we're so dang biased about one thing or the next. We don't realize that all we were really ever here to do was be love, feel love, give love, and just spread love. Instead, it's the opposite. And that's, I just felt super compelled to call, because I haven't in a long time, and I love listening to everyone when they call in. And I liked your last caller. That was very fun. He had so many good questions. But I think And right now, it's such a potent time in the universe with the full moon, you know, with meditation, with our heart opening, with these portals opening, with just having a moment to go, hey, let's focus on just our heart. Let's focus on love. Let's just focus on loving. We don't even have to say, I love you to one another. I mean, I'm not saying that. I'm not saying that you have to say to your enemy, I love you. I'm not going to tell you it wouldn't help. I think the Ho'oponopono or whatever that is, prayer is super helpful, especially right now when we can say, I'm sorry, I love you, thank you, please, or I love you, I'm sorry, thank you, please forgive me, or whatever it is. But like when we can just go, hey, guess what? We're all trying to get to a better place in this world right now. And the best way to do that is to be united. And everything in the world is trying to pull us apart, divide us, and make us feel hate for one another. And for what? For what? When we start to literally sit down and go, oh, so I don't like you because you like something that's red and I like something that's blue, or vice versa.
Yep.
It's silly. It is really just nonsense. But we don't realize the propaganda that's in our fingertips. We don't realize what things are getting put into our minds every day, especially if you do watch the news and you watch mainstream media and you're being told that these cases are going up and blah, blah, blah. But when you start to like step outside of that and just observe it, but not feel it and not be a part of it and not judge, it changes your whole world.
Yeah.
Yep. That just all happened. But either way.
Yeah. And it seems like they're just trying to stir mess up with people out there. You know, they're just trying to come up with anything to make us divide over. And I say, don't fall for it. Don't fall for it, guys. You know?
Exactly. The most important thing is we are, like, cut us all open. That's what I keep saying. Cut me open. Cut everyone open. We are the same. We are the freaking same. So whatever's on the outside, whatever color our skin is, whatever vehicle we're brought to this universe in, we signed up for it, which is odd and crazy when you sit and think about it, when that's just way deeper than a lot of people want to go, especially when I try to talk to my parents and say, you know, hey, we decided who we wanted to be our parents to be. We decided what color, what gender, what race, what everything. We did that. This was a plan we made before we came into these bodies. And for just hearing that, it literally, it makes them uncomfortable, and that's fine. So where I go back and I pull away from it and I say it's all about perspective. So the most important thing we can do in these trying times is to just love. To love and to not judge, and to just allow everyone to be who and what they are, and be grateful for them to be in our lives. And to just say, you know what, maybe I don't agree with you on macaroni and cheese, or maybe I don't agree with you on your sports team or your political views, but no matter what, I still love you. And I still think that I'm glad to know you, and I'm glad to have you in my life. Because you see people's lives ruined, and friendships ruined, and marriages ruined, and stuff over political things or even sports things. I don't know. It seems so petty to me when you look at the big picture and you go, we're here just to be loved and to be loved. But we get so literally just pulled out of that, and we're taken into this, well, I have to have this job, and whatever your job is, and that makes you who you are. Well, you know, guess what? Your job isn't who you are. Your thoughts aren't who you are. Your name isn't who you are.
Yeah.
You are pure love and light, and that's how you came into this earth being. But you decided, and we all decided because we got told this, that our name, our job, our thoughts make us who we are. Well, that does not define us, but we've been led to believe that is what does.
Yeah.
And yes, taxes and people seeing here accept tax laws, X, whatever. Like, I don't know. Yes, death and taxes, that's for real. But you know what else is real? Love. Without that, we're not anything.
Love is the answer for sure.
It is. And breathing, like just taking that deep breath and remembering to exhale.
Yeah. Have you been doing the conscious breathing? Does that help?
Don't you feel like, I Yes, and in the minute I watch your show with Michelle every week, I'm like, oh my gosh, have I been breathing? Have I been breathing this whole week? And it's literally how I feel sometimes. I'm like, oh my goodness.
Yeah.
It is such a relief, and like you say, it's not about breathing out, but it's the sigh. It's the everything's okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you
It's
can
so
hear
huge.
yourself letting go, and it just helps it happen or
Yeah.
something. I don't know.
Right, and again, I think it's also just another way to focus on the now moment and to go, I'm right here, right now. Whatever thoughts were just going through my head, whatever things I was stressing about, whatever bill I'm worrying about that's due next week, or whatever event that happened last night, and I'm still focusing on it, it's taking you out of your now moment. And so by focusing on your breath, you're back to your now moment, you're back to being right here, right now, and going, okay, now what, world? Now what? Because I'm here, and that's it. Like, what do you got? What's up?
Yeah, because it's like just tapping into the undistorted, perfect God source energy, and just breathing that in and sighing it and letting it carry away all the tension and worries and all of that. Right as you sigh. I wanted to ask you a question really fast, Laura, because Propagate This Light said thank you for your compliment, by the way. But he wanted to ask what is pure light? What do you think of pure light as?
Well, I think that the moment we came into this world, I think that was our pure light. And I think the minute we start to frame an opinion about something, or start to, hear another's thought, that takes us out of that pure light, because it kind of clouds it, or it kind of it casts a shadow, in a sense, on that what we feel was pure. And I'm not saying it was Adam and Eve, and I'm not, instead of the tree of life, they wanted the tree of knowledge, and we feel shame. But it kind of is that, where we're told, when we're told as kids, don't do that, or behave this way, or don't act that way, that's stealing our light. Our light has been stolen from us from the minute we were little, because we wanted to be that person, and we were told not to be that person. And so it's so unintentional by adults. It's so unintentional by our families and our parents and friends.
Snuffing out your...
Just take our light, but they're dimming our lights the minute they tell us to not act a certain way, to not be who we are. So I guess
it makes me think that
our pure light is just being born.
I love that song in church, that I'm going to let my light shine, or what was it? I'm going to let it shine. Yeah, this little light of mine. Hide it under a bushel, no.
Yes. And so, as we get older and as we grow up, we dim our lights, because we were told when we were younger, that's not how we're supposed to act, and people don't like that, or it makes them uncomfortable. And, we dim our lights the minute we are here. We come here and we start to dim our lights. And in other cultures, and like I was reading this book of Jesus and the Essenes from Dolores Cannon, she, it talks about, like, once Adam and Eve ate from, or the serpent tempted them, which they say the serpent was actually a fallen angel that came into the body of the snake that tempted them and said, here, have this, which another part of that book, which this is all very interesting to me, because it was in the book. Like, it's Dolores Cannon, and it's a patient, or a person that she's putting under. So I'm not saying I take it and hang on with it for my life and say that this is truth. I'm just saying what it says in the book is very interesting, and I think you have to always use discernment whenever you read a book, whenever you do anything. It's what resonates with yourself. But in the book, she talks about how when they ate from the tree of knowledge, the person who is doing the session is like, wouldn't you just rather have eaten from the tree of life and known that you were going to have life everlasting, and you'd have all that time to gain the knowledge, versus taking away your, versus like causing us so much pain and suffering. You could have just eaten from the tree of life, and you could have had life eternally, and then spent all that time gaining knowledge.
So when you said light, to back up what you were saying, it almost sounds like you're saying more like the light of God, or that spark of divinity that we all really sort of share, that part, that light that we...
That fabric that we all are of one.
Right, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you said that in the beginning. I forgot you said the fabric thing. Yeah, that's right. Yeah.
I would say that's what we all stem from is, the same fabric. And that's why it's so important for us to realize that no matter what color our skin is in this lifetime, because we have plenty of lifetimes. And that's the other thing for people is, I know it's so hard to wrap our minds around reincarnation or the fact that we've done this 1,000 times, because we're not taught that, because those chapters were taken out of the Bible. Those books were removed since the 16th, maybe the 14th century. Like, it was removed. But every other religion discusses reincarnation, yet it's taken away from Christianity. And we all know we've done this. And so we've done this in every color, in every gender, with disabilities, or with every, thing you could imagine. We were a rock, we were a tree, we were a spider, we were a man, a woman, whatever color, religion, everything. We've done it. Because this is we're here to learn. We're here. This is like our school. This is our school of life. We're here every lesson is to be learned. And I think we're at a point in 2020 where maybe we don't have to, it doesn't have to be the end again. If we learn our lessons and we realize that our karma is resolvable and that we don't keep making the same mistakes. Because I made a lot of same mistakes this lifetime. A lot. The same one a bunch of times, and it took me a really long time to realize that maybe maybe I'm doing something wrong,
I wanted to get back to the light thing one last time. I'm sorry to keep coming back to this, but
it's okay.
Okay, so light, meaning knowledge. A lot of times light will be used kind of interchangeably with knowledge, and I think that comes from being enlightened or illuminated or illumined, or that's where Illuminati comes from, the enlightened, or the ones that have the knowledge, So I think, when you typically think of turning on the light in a room, it shines light on things and it reveals things, or you got more information once you shine the light on things. So I think that's sort of so when we say love and light, we're it's like both parts of that intelligent God source energy, right? It's got the intelligence and the love force that brings it all together.
We could also say hate and dark, because no matter what, it's the opposite of that same coin. It's there. And so in order to have love, we have to have the dark. In order to have love, we have to have hate. We had to, in duality, in that in that sense of the world, in 3D life, yes. That's duality. Yes, we must have dark to have light. Yes, we must have hate to have love. But we also can rise above all of that and go, I choose light, I choose love, I choose grace. And that's how we high rise into the world we're trying to ascend into, but forces beyond, we think they're beyond our control. It's not beyond our control. When we raise our vibration, our light gets brighter. The dark gets shone on. Everything that's dark must become brought to light. And that's happening right now. We're watching that on a large scale, on a big scale, on a macro scale, but it's micro too. So it's individual and it's macro. So it's the world, but it's also ourselves individually. So if we can all, when we work on what's going on within us, when we can start to go, look, those demons are dark and I hate them and they're ugly and I don't like it, but I must shine light on it, because I know that no matter what, if I can get the light in the darkest, ugliest place, it's only going to allow me to take that and bring it up to the surface and then transmute it into whatever I choose, And if you're dark and you're evil and you want to transmute it back into dark, go for it. But that's not going to win. You know what I mean? The majority of people are going to say, okay, fine, I have to face my demons. I have to see this for what it is. I have to see the dark, because in order to have the light and have it fully, it must be illuminated. And then that's what we all have to do. And it's hard right now, but that's the most important thing that we can all be doing at this moment in time. Not only looking out and, you know, judging one another or not judging everyone else for what their darkness is, but when we all start to go, we all have something dark, whether it be, you know, an addiction, or whether it be our lineage or anything, whatever it is, if we can bring light to that darkness, we're only going to help bring the higher consciousness into this lifetime. So everything is light, but everything is also dark. It's just whatever angle and perspective you're looking at it from.
Absolutely, yeah. There's always both sides of the coin.
Yes, yep. And it's the art of, or if I see this, I'm reading some of the chat, but it's like the just being both and realizing that we are all both, and we can't, you know, it's so easy to be like, well, I just only want to focus on the positive, and I don't want to hear the news, and I don't want to know anything negative, and then please don't take me off my vibration. I'm on this pedestal. Please leave me alone. Don't say anything negative. You know, we can do that for only so long, but life is what it is, and we have to. Yes, hate is a strong word. I don't like that word at all. I think rather than saying hate, I would rather say dislike, you know. But I think love and hate are so important for us to realize right now in what's going on and everything, that so many people are literally having hate in their heart, but they're not finding a way to shine the light on it. They're not finding like that. They're so, we get so stuck in our ways. We get so, everything has got to be like this, and if people don't believe it or don't believe in what I see, then they're stupid and I hate them. Like, it's so easy to do that because it's almost been okayed by society these days. Everyone's like, oh, it's okay to just be like, yeah, you don't like that, and yep, you can hate that. Even when you're talking about like Doritos or a soda or a certain beer or whatever it is, and be like, oh, I hate Bud Light, I have to drink Miller Lite, and I hate people that drink Bud Light. You know what I mean? It's so strong. It's such a strong word, but we've normalized it, just like other things that are not okay to normalize. And we just kind of have to step back and go, when did that become okay? When did somebody say it was okay to talk about anything or anyone with hate? Because that is very harsh, and it's really hard to erase the hate. It's really hard to take that back when you say you hate someone or something, you know, and it's okay. We've all done it. No one should feel bad, and no one should feel ashamed. We should just say, look, if I want to be a better person, it's okay to recognize that and say, I know I've hated people. I know I've hated things. I know I've said I've done this, but it's okay when you redeem it by saying, I repent, or I'm sorry, I love you, thank you, please forgive me. And truly mean it. And just know that there is light. But everything that's dark always has light. And it's there. No matter how the worst day you can have, it's always going to be there when, no matter what, you turn the coin, you flip the perspective, the light with the dark, always.
Yeah. And the more you can do
I don't
that,
know
the more
if that
you can
answered your question. Yeah.
you can see it serving a dual purpose. So the hard times you can see made you stronger, just like sharpening a knife or anything. You know, there's some resistance, there's some friction there, but the friction always
word on the
brings
street
about.
is prior to our duality with the light and dark, it was not that way. And you know, whether or not it was or wasn't, or what it used to be, the most important thing to realize is right here, right now, in this moment, because all of that is what it is, or was what it was. But if we're not living in our now moment, and we're always dwelling on, well, you hated this, or I hated this, or whatever, we're never going to move forward. Or, you know, if we fear what's going to happen in the future, we're never going to get there because we're always going to be scared of it. So the only thing we can do is right now bring light to every situation and find a way to just say, if we're looking to do it, if people want to do that, it's a choice. I'm not saying everyone has to do this. I'm just saying, wake up and say, I choose happy, or I don't. I choose the opposite. That's your choice every day when you wake up. But when you start to wake up, every morning and say, I have a choice, and when you start to realize that the news doesn't define you, your job doesn't define you, you know, your relationship doesn't define you, when you start to wake up and go, I have a choice, and what defines me is my mood, my my feelings
Mm-hmm.
and my happiness or my unhappiness, that's what defines you. That's
Yeah.
what truly makes you who you are. It's not what your job is. It's not where you live. It's not the house you grew up in. It's not the people you're friends with. What you defines you is your mood, your attitude. You,
Mm-hmm.
that moment, that day, that second you wake up. It's a choice.
That's so funny because that's how I ended my whole Mandela effect presentation, is because I realized that the Mandela effect itself reveals to us how we handle things. Are we going to take this and make something of it? Are we going to let it destroy our lives because it's just so mind-blowing, or you know what I mean? But it's really up to us at the end of the day how we handle the whole Mandela effect thing. If
Right.
You know what I'm saying? It's just the puck stops with us, or the buck stops with us, as they say.
Right. Right. Instead of passing it along every day and saying, well, they're negative about this, so I'm going to be negative about this, so you can be too. It's your choice. You get to choose.
Yeah.
So if more of us choose to be happy instead of choosing to watch CNN all day and all night, or Fox, or whatever you freaking pick, it doesn't matter. Why choose any of those? Just choose to rise above it and go, you know what? I'll make up my own decision. Yes, watch a recap of the news. Stay in touch with what's going on in the world. Know what's going on. But at the same time, don't live your life based off of the news.
Yeah.
Or, you know, what's going
Just come
on
to
in
the love stream.
politics.
That's all you
or
need. We'll let you guys know
just
if there's
listen
something.
to the love stream every freaking Friday. And life
I'm just
is
kidding, guys.
groovy,
I don't
you
watch
know?
the news
So
either.
it's
So.
No, and I'm not saying I once in a while I do, or you know, you hear about all these spikes, and like I had a vacation that I was supposed to be going on in August, and I can't now because it's gonna be an epicenter and blah blah blah. And I wanted to tell all my friends, like, well, fuck it. Sorry, shoot, I did not mean to swear. I did
it's
really
okay
get
here.
to this
No,
whole
that's
time.
that's
Gee, darn
IMAC
it.
that. We're cool.
Okay. Thanks. Yeah, take the timestamp of that and get that out of there. Anyway, I think when you like, I wanted to be like, well, if you guys all buy into that, fine. We won't go on our vacation, like, because I'm going was going to go with a bunch of my friends, and so that's fine. Like, I feel like if I was more confident in what I say with you all on a Friday Night Love Stream, when I feel like a lot of people are on the same page as I am, if I felt like they were that way, maybe I would have said it to them.
Mm-hmm.
So here's where I feel super happy about knowing you, Shane, and Unbiased and On the Fence, because I feel like I have a home. I feel like I have a safe space to discuss this stuff. However, I don't feel like I have that with everyone, especially when the reactions I get from my family or friends when I say, well, you know, certain things about certain tests, and I say, well, it sounds like they really haven't done a lot of tests on these tests that are coming back positive for everyone. Doesn't that seem a little strange? You know what I mean? And they all look at it and they're like, well, who do you think you are saying blah, blah? And I'm just like, you know what? You're right. I can't do it. So anyways, instead of like being a negative Nancy or shining, and I love you, not so fancy Nancy, so no offense on that name at all. But what I mean by that is, you know, instead of like trying to be, I don't know, instead of trying to wake them up anymore, because I keep trying and I feel like I kind of give up and I'm going off in a different direction right now. But I think at the beginning of our lives, yes, we all have a light. I think at the beginning of our lives, we are all very bright, and we are all, and no matter what, at whatever point in our lives, we still have that light in us. So no matter how dark it can get, no matter how dimmed it can get, no matter how shut down it can get, or how we can start to believe that there was never a reason for our existence. And I have been there, and I can't believe I'm still here, to be honest. Honestly, when I was 27, I couldn't believe if I'd made it to 30, and then I made it to 30, and now I'm almost 40, and I think, oh my goodness, how'd that happen, right? Because I've had so many low times in my life where I couldn't even understand why I was here. Mm-hmm. And it's so simple for all of us. And it's not simple, not by any means, but what I mean by that is we all have a unique light. We all have a unique fingerprint. We all have a unique blueprint. None of us are the same. Not even twins. They have something different about them. Every single one of us has something different to bring to the table, and life is a potluck. So what are you going to bring to the table? That is the question.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely.
That's all. And so we're all some special. We're just so much more special than we give ourselves credit for. And when we start at a young age to be told we're not special, it's really hard to believe it, but it's true. We're all so special. We're all unique. We're all different, and we're all created through the eye and hand of God.
You know, and that's really kind of like once I kind of felt like we should allow people to be on their journey and not feel like we're on a mission to convert people, right? It's like, I guess I realized that I hate for everybody to think like me, but I also realized, like, in nearly everything we do, we all have our own individual thing, whether it's our fingerprint, our life, even like with Mandela effects. Nobody has the same exact list of things they've seen change. We all have our own unique list. So no matter what it is, our likes, our dislikes, everything, there's just that individuality there, you know?
And that's the other thing with, like, you know, the double slit experiment. You can be watching it with the same person and have a different point of view, have a different idea of how you experience the same event.
Mm-hmm.
And I did not make up the potluck analogy. Thank you, Propagate This Light. I did not come up with that. I'm not quite sure. I don't remember where I heard that, but that life is a potluck. What are you going to bring to the table? And I thought that was so clever when I first heard that. I wish I would have wrote down where or whom I heard it from, but it's true. It's like we each have something to give. Yeah. And I just think we all have our moments of despair, and we all think, I'm just nobody in this world of a gazillion people, not a gazillion, but a billion, 8 billion, whatever it is. And yet we are each uniquely special. Mm-hmm. And again, I'm just like, okay, well, if I make it to 40, cool, something's good. Something good is happening. But no matter what, we're all here, and we're all in this together. We all feel so separate. And that's also what I've heard our suffering comes from, the feeling of being separate from Source. That's what causes so much of our suffering, is this idea that we are that we're not unified, that we're separate. And so it's hard to believe that we're all together when I'm sitting here and you're all wherever you are, and none of us are together. How are we connected, right?
Yeah.
But I feel like one time, one of the shows I was watching with Eileen, she said, we're all connected by the air, even. Like the fact that the same air that touches my skin is touching your skin, whether it be here or wherever. Like,
yeah. Even if that air doesn't, it's touching the air that's touching the air. So
right, that's touching somebody else. That's touching somebody else. Exactly. Right. No matter what, like, if that's how we need to look at it on that scale, and then kind of pull back in a different perspective, whatever it takes.
And most of us are touching the earth too, you know.
Exactly. Right. Whether it's a chair or a couch or we're on an airplane, no matter what it is, we're all touching something that's touching someone that's touching whatever. It just is. We are.
You know what's kind of funny about this whole thing is, like, humans tend to focus on their differences, and instead of celebrating the diversity of cultures and ideas and all that, we get angry with people and we completely ignore the things that are the same, right? Like what some of the things you were saying, like we all bleed the same and we all have families and we all want to be loved, and, you know, we sort of, I don't know, we ignore those things that are the same and focus on the differences and use that as a reason to divide over them. You know what I mean? It's the most ridiculous thing. It must be really funny to look from the outside at the whole thing and just shaking your head trying to figure out what the heck's even going on, you know, with that and dancing too. I bet that's pretty weird.
Exactly. And like like Silver Moon is saying in the chat right now, I just saw that we have to look at everything. We can't understand knowledge if we don't look at things and to see it's of the light or not. Like, that's the thing. I feel like we get so conditioned to not look at things that are scary to us or that are dark or, you know, that like cause us pain. So if we're not ever just seeing the whole picture, we can't ever really have a true perspective on our life. And we sure did not come here to judge everyone else's life. For heaven's sakes, what are we doing? Like, we can't even, we're just trying to figure out our little, you know, script in this play in this stage of life, if you will. And so for us to sit and start, it's easy for us to judge other people because then what are we doing? We're taking the light off ourselves.
Yeah.
We're removing the spotlight from us, and we're saying, oh, well, look at so-and-so. Can you believe they did this? And it's like, yeah, well, you know what? It's none of my business what anyone else thinks about me. And when somebody first told me that, I thought, holy shit, you're right. It's none of my business what anyone else thinks about me. It's not. Because if you sit and dwell on what other people think about you, it does not change who you are. It doesn't change your life. It, other than causes you stress that's not necessary.
It affects your experience.
There was a guy, and I can't remember his name, but his saying was, I'm not who you think I am, and I'm not who I think I am. I'm who I think you think I am. And so we're always looking at ourselves in the third person in a sense of who does Shane think Laura is, you know what I mean? Or who does my mom think I am or whatever. I just think we're always judging ourselves off of a different perspective of our perspective of what we think somebody else is thinking of us. And it's so wild when you come down and think about it. How much does that matter? Why does that matter? Well, we can start living our lives and not worrying because we're living our lives because so-and-so thinks this is what we should do or should have done or should be doing. Instead, just going, you know what, this is my now moment. I'm going to just freaking do it. Like, I think I'm going to start making YouTube videos. I don't know. But, like, again,
Cool.
I shouldn't
you should
do
do
I
that.
shoot myself down.
I think backing up to the fear thing, though, I think sometimes, like my friend Overprotected Sherry, you know her, she was talking about, like, fear being gatekeepers, right? So when we go in the out-of-body state, we might experience something that's sort of fearful, but if we can overcome it, you break through to this incredible experience of going out of body or whatever, you know. And I think a lot of times there are these fearful gatekeepers, if you will, and when you're able to push past that, and I mean, you don't have to face it, and it's okay if you want to just turn around and not look at whatever it is, but if for those brave souls that typically do face it and conquer it, and they're like, oh, it wasn't a big deal, and wow, what a treasure waiting on the other side of this. And it reminds me of the Truman Show when they were always trying to keep him in his boundaries, you know, like, don't go over that hill, something bad happened to the last person that went over there, and don't go out into the ocean because the last person, your father actually, I think,
his dad died that way, right.
Exactly. So it's like all this fear, and what was waiting on him on the other side was freedom, you know?
Exactly. And so that's one of the biggest, I think, the best point you could make of this whole phone call is that we are trained to believe that everyone's after us or no one believes in us. We have these just somehow weird programs that from the beginning of time, you know, give us this doubt. We doubt ourselves. And I'm not saying everyone does, but geez, I do. And I try not to, you know what I mean? Like, just making a phone call and being on this call is empowering in a sense, and it's stepping out of a comfort zone that I think we're all used to, like, listening to the call. And then when somebody actually calls in and speaks, it's so interesting and exciting to hear other people's point of views. And so I don't mean to keep you too long, but I think it's important for us to, instead of worry about what everyone else thinks, and gosh, that's easier said than done. Because, you know, as soon as we think we're doing it, it's like we're doubting ourselves because we're questioning what people are thinking. You know what I mean? So we think we're like there and we're like, oh, I'm just doing this and no one cares. And then you're like, but I'm actually thinking about it because I'm actually saying that I don't think anyone cares and whatever. And so it's just so easy to get caught up in all of it when life wasn't meant to be this complicated. It was never meant to be. Like, we're human beings, but what are we really? We're human doings. We never stop. We never just be. We never just allow ourselves to be the human beings that we're meant to be, because everyone expects, or our families, or, you know, we have people that rely on us, yes. But when you just be, when you're in that stillness, when you do the meditation, when you take a deep breath, when you take a moment for yourself, and you're just being, in your now moment, that's when magic happens, and that's that void space that we talk about in the beginning of creation as well, you know? And that's why so many people have great ideas when they meditate, or when they quiet their minds, and they find that moment of creation, because it's that void of anything. It's just that nothingness that causes us to have an inspiration to be, do, say, hear, feel, think something. And then instead of beating ourselves up when you're in a meditation, instead of beating yourself up for having, those thoughts that you have or the ideas that come through your brain, and all of a sudden you have all these, the laundry list of what I need to do and what I should be doing and what I could be doing. Instead of could and should, those are such dangerous words. When we don't use could or should, and we just be, again, it's another moment of inspiration, of creation, and where people so often don't realize that, like say you're just driving and you're daydreaming, and that's when inspiration strikes, because you're not focused on anything.
Mm-hmm.
That void. So somebody had mentioned that in the chat too, I saw. And I like Silver Moon because he or she agrees with everything I'm saying, and no one ever does that, so that's pretty huge.
You're in the right crowd, that's for sure.
I am in the great crowd, yes.
And I want to thank you
sometimes
for being over at the IMEC conference so much and being a part of that and asking your questions. You got a book, didn't you?
I did. So I emailed, and Cynthia Sue responded, which again, because honestly, I feel like she's like I don't know, in my opinion, like Michael Jackson. You know what I mean? She's just like a superstar, and I'm like, oh my gosh, Cynthia Sue Larson responded to me, and I kind of had a slight panic attack and got it. Whatever. Either way, yes. Sorry, yes. Long story short, yes. Yes, she said Suso. I don't know. I'm not good at saying his name, but she said he is Suso is sending me a book, and I love him, and I actually love the version of listening to him read his book, on his channel.
Mm-hmm.
But to have it in tangible, where I can go back and look at it, will be awesome.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, it's a great book.
So
I didn't know he had
cool
the whole. He read the whole thing on the channel.
I'm not quite sure if he's had the whole thing. I've listened to the first 3 or 4 chapters, I would say, on his channel.
Yeah.
But when he talks about being impaled by a table or something that goes through him, and then he's fine, and it's just, in hearing him say it, it's just so interesting, because I really he's a great storyteller, and it's a real life story. It's not like he's telling us a fiction thing. It's wild. But yes. So I got furloughed at my job, so I was able to be a part of the conference, which is why I was so volatile.
Wow, that's so cool.
The days that I was, so, not all bad things come from furlough, not all bad things come from this silly mind virus or whatever we want to call it. Maybe it's, I don't want to even start that whole political thing. I just think, what's really important for us to realize, and again, my whole reason for ever even coming into believing reality was anything different than what it was told to me to be was because of the Mandela effect.
Mm-hmm.
And I saw so many people's comments in the week of the IMEC talking about how it caused trauma, and not in super trauma, but some people it really kind of, it was unnerving, It kind of can cause a little stress.
Mm-hmm.
I could not believe how scary it was to me. And, looking back at it now, I think it's the best thing that ever happened to me.
Mm-hmm.
But then in the moment, I was just like, well, how can that change? Does that mean my history changes? My whole life changed? Did I really play basketball and win, state, or did my life happen? Did it happen? It's really unnerving when you question everything. When you not just question movies changing, song lyrics changing, but your life. Could that have changed? It's pretty wild to think about.
The possibilities are endless,
It is. It's true, and it's also it was the scariness, but then that's the beauty. It's the dark with the light, and it's going, you know what? That means that things are not as solid as I thought they were, and that it actually could help so many of us, if we, I don't know how to say it because I'm not like, it's not like I've manifested myself like some snazzy car that I would like to or anything like that. You know, when we start to believe we're capable of so much more and that everything isn't as solid as it seems and things can be a lot more fluid or whatever it is, that could change the world. And that's really important for us all to realize right now. So when we start to think more positive thoughts and less negative thoughts, we could really start this ascension on a better direction. And I get that that's the whole point of the Power of One and your channel on your show on Saturdays is to bring people's vibration up and to start thinking about more positive things. But I think it's something that we should do daily and not just once a week, but just on the moment we wake up and go, how do I want things to be today, positive or negative, you know?
Yeah.
And if you stub your toe when you get out of your bed, then get back into bed and get out again and try not to stub your toe and hopefully it gets better. I don't know. But my thought is there's always a chance to do it again and like to try to make it better.
Absolutely.
Yeah. And a few of other people calling. Awesome.
No, actually, wow, I looked up. Oh my gosh, right then it was 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
No way.
2 hours, 34 minutes, and 56 seconds, right when I looked at
Oh,
it.
I love that. Oh, speaking of that, like so many number syncs lately, I've noticed.
Oh, yeah.
Whether I look at my phone and it's charging and it's like, 88% and it's like 808 or something, like there's always this
88
weird
degrees.
synchronicity, like
what the
55% and it was like 5:15 and I'm like, that's a lot of fives. Like, I
Right.
think that's a good sign. I hear it's fives are like new starts or something, you know? Also, I think it's what we put into it, what we put into whether we can go in and look up the angel numbers of what they mean, or if we have our own, like what it means to us significantly. I think it's easy for us to box in, 333 means ascended masters are near you, but it could mean so much more to someone else or something different. And I think when we stop boxing definitions in left and right and stop saying, well, Christianity is this, the Mandela effect is this, and, this is this, like, we actually open ourselves up to allowing so much more greatness into our lives. But when we box everything into a definition, a label, it's so hard to pull out of that.
Yeah, it is.
So when we start to see the synchronicities mean what we want them to mean versus what the angel numbers tell us they have to mean, if it's positive, I think anything can be done positive, anything can be done negative. It's just power, or it's a matter of light and dark.
Yeah, in our perspective, it really gets back to that whole wheat and tares thing and what you decide to focus on, because they're both always there. Both sides of the coin, like you were talking about. Are you going to focus on the light side or the dark side? They're all serving a purpose.
And lately, I've noticed, I have felt this, I wouldn't say sadness, but I think it kind of was. And it was something that I haven't done in a really long time, because I thought, it's so funny, when we think we've cleared out all these skeletons in our closet, or we think we've overcome any doubts or whatever, then all of a sudden when they meet us and they come back up and, jump in our face and be like, oh, haha, you thought you overcame this and you didn't, right? So, like, I just keep thinking, my guides, my higher self, I know I'm always being led. I know I'm always being guided. I know I can believe, like, in my intuition. But you hear these stories of people talking about how their higher self, or they get these messages, or you get visions, or like Michelle will talk about some awesome things that will happen to her in her dream time or whatever on your show. Mm-hmm. And I think I've always thought that was so cool. And then lately, when I keep hearing people's stories about it, I keep going, when's this going to happen for me? Why? What am I doing wrong?
Mm-hmm.
And I think we're all just human, and we're all just doing the best we can with where we're at. And the minute you start to doubt yourself is when you kind of set yourself back from allowing it to just happen.
Yeah.
But for the longest time, I was just like, well, it'll just happen when it's ready, when it's going to happen. And then for some reason lately, it's been a trigger to me. And you hear people talk about triggers. And it's like, oh, nothing really triggers me. But it does. We're all human. It's always going to happen.
It's how triggered do we get, and it was like it's been a battle for me, where you're mad for 15 minutes, and then you can work that back to being mad for 1 minute, and then work it back to catching it before you even get angry. But it's a process. You got to work on it. You got to practice, and as long as there's humans around, we get plenty of practice, don't we?
Yeah, exactly. And I think one of the biggest things with me is. When I was meditating more, when I used to meditate every day, I don't feel like I was as triggered. I feel like I was it was easier to just observe things, and also, like you said, instead of reacting, knowing that like certain circumstances might come up, instead of having a reaction, instead of that, you could just be prepared and know. Yeah, anyways. So as I meditate less, I feel more triggered. I feel more reactive.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it definitely
and I think
helps.
sometimes it's hard to meditate. I think it's hard when you have a family or when you live with your family and you don't feel like you have a moment. You don't have time, or you feel like you're going to get interrupted. It's really hard to get into that mindset to meditate.
That's why the conscious breathing is way more practical, because you can do it in
Yes.
You know what I mean? And you can do it often, and you can even do it at work. So yeah, it's awesome. So,
exactly.
All right, you guys.
Right
I'm going to wrap this one up because my wife's got to go to work in the morning, so I need to get out of the room so she can do that. But
well, there you go. Well, thank you so much, Shane. It was really nice chatting with you again. It's been a really long time.
Thank you so much. Perfect.
Welcome.
All right, you have it.
Thanks, everybody in the chat. You're all awesome. Love you all.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Laura.
Take care.
All right, you guys, we'll see you tomorrow night for the Power of One with Eileen. And we're going to be doing a special 4th of July Independence Day meditation. So I'll see you guys tomorrow. Lots of love and light. See you in the next one. Be sure to check out the website at uotf.net. There you will find the live stream schedule displayed in your local time right there on the front page. Below that, you'll find links to take the Beyond Quantum Healing course at a discounted rate, purchase our book, Mandela Effect, Friend or Foe, in paperback or ebook, or to contact me to schedule a BQH session. At the top of the site, you'll find links to help support the work I do, access the free private forum where you can discuss organizing get-togethers in your area, Mandela effects, and more. Thank you all so much for being here.